CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, August 13th. A little hazy already in the sky. Otherwise, sunshine today. Right now, 13 degrees. Get you that full forecast in a moment. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan, and good morning. A BC Wildfire Update has 109 fires burning across the province, 50 of those considered out of control this morning. There's been 19 new starts in the last 24 hours. One of those is a small fire that sparked yesterday near Coombs. That one already considered under control, well under a hectare in size. BC's Premier was in Penticton yesterday, meeting with lots of evacuees from Summerlin, Falder, and the surrounding region. David Eby says it's a horrific wildfire that forced 20,000 people out of homes across the South Okanagan region. And he says the flames moved at a dizzying pace.
There's an important set of lessons for us to take about how quickly this moved, and that this may be our new normal for fire speed. And that a crucial piece of work that we have to do is an after-action review, which we will do.
One of the people that he met with was the mayor of Summerlin, Doug Holmes.
We just had a really productive meeting with the Premier. We talked about some of the challenges of evacuating so many people on such a large scale, that it's really unprecedented for this region to have that kind of an evacuation. And we talked about the challenges we're going to have moving forward as we recover from this disaster. And that we'll need government support. This isn't something we're going to be able to do on our own.
That one fire, the Bald Range fire, has nearly doubled in size since the weekend, from 100 to 184 square kilometers in size. Up Island, a 65-year-old man facing 2 counts of committing an indecent act after incident last week in Nanaimo. RCMP said they received a report last Thursday morning that a man had allegedly exposed himself to a woman while she was jogging near the waterfront trail and playground area of Maffeo Sutton Park. They found a suspect closely matching the description a short distance away. The second charge stems from a similar incident August 2nd on Nickel Street. Now investigators are reviewing whether there may be additional witnesses or incidents connected to the accused. In the meantime, the suspect remains in custody ahead of a court appearance. New data out this morning is highlighting how deadly e-scooters and e-bikes actually are for children across this country.
The Canadian Pediatric Surveillance Program says 10 kids, including 6 in Ontario, died from using these electronic devices last year. 12 more children were admitted to intensive care units, and 26 were treated in hospital for more than 2 days. As a pediatric emergency physician at Toronto's Hospital for Sick Children, Dr. Daniel Rosenfield says he rarely works a shift without seeing an e-scooter injury.
They're inherently unstable. They go very quickly, and people have almost no protection in them or around them. So unfortunately, that number didn't surprise me.
The data highlights the need for better policy coordination and public education to clearly communicate the laws. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press, Toronto.
A third batch of whales has left that shuttered Ontario theme park for aquariums south of the border. Marineland calls it a major milestone in its efforts to carry out the biggest collective move of captive whales. Retired Marineland employee Tom Weston was at the park yesterday, and he says he's elated to see the whales move on to greener pastures.
I worked here for 40 years. I was here when all the adult belugas were put in this pool, with the exception of the ones that were born here. And I'm so happy that they're moving on to new homes, and they're very special.
The park's advisor says the team of specialists got 6 more belugas into tanks that were driven to Toronto's Pearson Airport for flights to aquarium in Chicago and Atlanta. 2/3 of Marineland's whales have now been relocated. 11 remain at the site. And uncertainty remains the name of the game on trade as Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc remains in Washington, D.C. today, knocking on more doors, but with so far no more meetings with his U.S. counterparts on the schedule. CTV's Michael Couture is following the latest developments.
CTV News has learned that lead negotiator with the U.S., Janice Charette, warned her American counterpart that federal officials would not be able to control the public or premier's reactions if the U.S. moved forward with 50% tariffs. It wasn't described as an ultimatum, but sources say U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer understood the reality. Industry leaders remain cautiously optimistic.
I'm hopeful that we're going to get it done. The Americans are speaking in real terms. They know the consequence of their trade actions.
The plan remains to try to get the layout of a trade deal presented to Donald Trump with the coming days, with an August 19th deadline for his hike in tariffs to 50% coming next week. That's your news to 6:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning, we're asking, how confident are you that you won't fall victim to a scam? You can vote at CFAX1070.com or also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 6:06.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning. Welcome to the day. It's going to be a little hazy. Got that smoke happening. We'll tell you all about it in just a moment. How bad will it get? Or will it even get bad? We've got to look for that in just a second. But right now, let's get to the sports. And we're going to start with the world of tennis. A new women's champion will be crowned at the National Bank Open in Toronto today. Former world number one Iga Swiatek will take on Elena Rybakina in the final. Canada's Victoria Mboko won the tournament last year in Montreal, but was unable to defend her title this year because of a knee injury. And it's an all-American final at the National Bank Open in Montreal for the men's side, where defending champion Ben Shelton will meet Brandon Nakashima in the final. And so at the end of today, it'll all be over. For the world of baseball, let's check in with the Blue Jays, who are really on a roll now and getting some lucky bounces on their way to beating Boston 6-4 last night. Toronto had a 5-run eighth inning, thanks in part to a Red Sox infielder dropping a pop-up in foul territory. Manager John Schneider spoke about the stroke of luck after the game.
Maybe the baseball gods are changing their mind about us, after about 10 months. You never know, but you know what I mean? You got to take advantage of mistakes. So maybe, a month ago, a couple weeks ago, that ball would have been fair, would have been infield fly rule. But from me to the baseball gods, thanks. Keep it coming.
The Jays have now won 3 in a row and 10 of their last 14 games, and they're in the thick of a crowded playoff spot, just 1.5 games back from a wild card spot that is currently being held by Texas, with 3 other teams between them and the Rangers. Hey, it's a football night here on CFAX 1070. We will see the BC Lions looking for a third straight win when they visit the Calgary Stampeders. The Lions are still in the West Division's cellar with a record of 3-5. Head coach Buck Pierce says he wants to continue improvement from offense, defense, and special teams when in Calgary.
Inconsistent throughout the first half of the season and haven't really played three-phase football yet. So those are the things we need to improve on. But I think each phase has taken steps.
The Stampeders beat the Lions 41-22 in their last meeting, which was back in June in Kelowna. And as always, CFAX 1070 will have the BC Lions coming up later on this afternoon, and that's your sports to 6:09. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Well, let's talk about the weather first because we have mainly sunny skies, highs of 24, a bit of humidity in the air again today. But then there's this smoke haze that's moving in. I noticed it when I got up in the morning. It was a lot darker than I was expecting compared to the last few days. So I do think we're seeing some of that already. Maybe we already saw some of that yesterday. But how bad is it going to get? Well, the air quality index is actually looking pretty good. They say that we're at a 1 right now, and the worst we're expected to get over the next couple of days, today and tomorrow, is a 3. All of that is in the low air quality range. It's actually interesting. Josh and Jade were spoken to an air quality meteorologist yesterday.
Yes.
And mentioned that a lot of it's staying kind of high up. So even though it looks pretty smoky, it's like up in the atmosphere.
Okay, so it's not actually a breathing level.
Yeah, so that's when it can get really bad when it comes down. So at the moment, their models are suggesting it's going to stay pretty high. So it might be confusing. You're like, why is it so hazy, but the air quality is all right?
So when you say, for clarity, when you say low air quality, that means good, right?
Low. So yeah, there's the low risk end of the scale, which is a 1 is the lowest, and the high risk, so the really bad air, is at a 10 plus. So we're at between a 1 and a 3.
That's actually very good.
Is where, yeah, exactly. It's
they
at
were
the
saying
low risk.
smoke was going to move in today.
Yeah, low health risk is the thing. Even though we're going to see a lot of that haze, and we already are a little bit. A bit dark out there. After that, we will see, other than smoke haze, clear skies and lows to 12 overnight. Could get a bit breezy off the Juan de Fuca Strait. But then get this, tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud, but there's a small risk of a thunderstorm in the late afternoon. More smoke haze kind of part of that. We aren't predicting much in the way of rain, just maybe some big thunderclaps possible. Stays clear through the weekend. Temperatures into the low to mid 20s is a high temperature. Right now, it is 13 degrees. North American stock markets opening a little later this hour, so while we await those first results, let's get a look at how yesterday closed with Aaron Sousa.
Canada's main stock index in Toronto climbed 186 points yesterday. Boosted by basic materials and financial sectors, the S&P TSX closed at 36,662. Meanwhile, the Dow dipped 21 points, but the Nasdaq rose 143. In Tokyo today, the Nikkei jumped 784 points. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong, however, slipped by 43. Our dollar trading near 71.66 cents U.S. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc remains in Washington today. This as 50% tariffs from the U.S. are set to take effect on August 19th. Meantime, experts say these tariffs could deepen divisions among Canadian provinces. Quebec's envoy calls the impact catastrophic for small towns. Analysts say the U.S. could end up rewarding compliant provinces and penalizing others. And insolvencies surged in June to more than 13,000. That's near levels from the 2008 financial crisis. The figures highlighting growing financial strain among Canadians. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us and making CFAX a part of your morning as we get into this Thursday. Lisa's here, I'm here, and Lisa, we were talking yesterday at this time about the Perseid meteor shower. Did you see it?
Tried again.
Yeah.
I failed.
And?
Well, because it's hazy out.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing. I was looking up this morning, trying to catch some of it, and yeah, it just seemed like dark haze.
And Environment Canada said clear, and then I looked up, like, that's kind of a weird clear when I can't see anything.
Yeah, there's no clouds.
No.
It's just smoke.
It's hazy. Yeah. It's high. Like you said, we're not breathing it in right now because it's sitting higher in the atmosphere, but it's blocking the Perseid. So they're doing a thing behind the haze, and we don't get to see them.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Unless you did. So if you did, let us know.
Actually, I'd love to. Yeah, if you had a chance to see it, if you were one of the folks who maybe stayed up late or got up early to check out the Perseid meteor shower, which peaked it just ended, I guess, the peak of it. It was between midnight and 5 a.m. was supposed to be the height of this thing. But I think you still catch it quite a bit on either side.
I agree, yeah.
So
when they're saying peak, but the peak means it's quite active, so
yeah,
you'll see something.
Well,
every year this comes around, and every year I try.
I know.
I think I got to take vacation for it.
I have seen it. I have managed to spot it sometimes. It's just you got to, I guess, coordinate with the smoke.
Which doesn't want to behave.
Yeah, really.
Much to the U.S. president's chagrin.
And and actually, I mentioned we had an air quality expert on yesterday from Environment Canada, speaking to Josh and Jade. What did she say about the state of our smoke? I wanted to revisit that in just a few moments.
Okay.
I also want to tell you about my experience with a horse yesterday.
We want to hear about it.
Yeah, I saw a horse.
Why the long face, Ryan?
I got to actually ride a horse briefly, or it took me for a ride. I didn't. I was in no control here.
You gotta hear how Ryan tells this story.
Yeah,
because Ryan was not in control at all.
I got a horse story coming up, but right now it's 6:15. And here's Lisa.
The chief of the Penticton Indian Band in this province is calling for cooperation to further prevent wildfires. Chief Greg Gabriel says logging practices and addressing drought conditions are things that can be done to address the problem. He also says wildfires like the one that forced thousands of people from their homes in the Okanagan, including his members, are not natural occurrences. Meantime, many BC farmers say they're facing a loss of their annual crops due to the extent of the wildfires this year, with just over 109 burning across the province as of this morning. Court documents released about the mass shooting in Tarboro Ridge in February show police weren't sure just how many shooters were involved as they were responding because they received different names for the killer. The confusion was revealed in documents police used to get search warrants that were obtained as part of a court challenge by media. The documents, heavily redacted, do show that RCMP only confirmed that Jesse Van Vootseller acted alone when they reviewed school surveillance footage where the shooter died by suicide. Another court document filed in March says artificial intelligence company OpenAI was not under investigation as police tried to get the company to hand over data about the shooter's ChatGPT accounts. And experts warn a new set of U.S. tariffs, expected to come next week, could drive wedges between Canadian provinces. They believe those rifts would allow the U.S. to exploit regional grievances to force trade concessions. UBC political scientist Stuart Press says while there's awareness that Canada can be a punching bag for the U.S., different parts of the country can be treated differently. The University of Calgary economics professor Trevor Tomei reports that the threatened tariffs would hit BC the hardest, while largely sparing the prairie provinces. So things to look forward to next week. That's your news to 617.
Texter at 71010 says, I watched the Perseids up in Tofino on a dark beach 1 year. So not this time.
See, that's what I got to do. Got to take vacation, go to Tofino,
and
just hang out with popcorn and wine and watch them do their thing.
Get out of the city lights.
You got to get to the city lights to see them, and you got to get away from the haze, too.
That sounds like a great idea, Texter. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break. Traffic and weather updated next. If you have anything that you've seen on the roads causing trouble, do text me at 71010, and we'll text us. Text me and Lisa. Sorry, you're part of this too, Lisa. It's coming up.
Thanks, Ryan. You're so kind.
We're doing our traffic, and then I'll tell you my horse story. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. This isn't a traffic tip, but somebody did have a question about looking up in the sky because we're just talking about the Perseids, which you couldn't quite see that much because of the smoke haze. But this texter says, hey, did you catch the partial eclipse? I did not even hear about it until after the fact. Now, I could be wrong, but my understanding was we weren't really going to see it in this part of the world.
Right.
There was
actually, Quebec and Ontario were a bit disappointed, too.
Yeah?
It happened big in Iceland.
Yeah, apparently.
People were texting from the Blue Lagoon, sending photos, incredible photos.
Sorry, somebody was there? You knew?
Well, just yes.
Oh, cool.
But
that's awesome.
But Iceland, the Scandinavian countries, they got to see it. Depending on the position of the where the eclipse was, because sometimes it's low depending on the low sun position. But yes, we didn't get it as much, but we got other things.
Yeah,
we got the planets aligning, and we got the Perseids.
There you go. Well, to Texter, it's a good question because I was also seeing on a lot of the national news, this huge coverage about eclipses coming. But then it's like not for the whole country.
It fizzled. Yes, it fizzled pretty quick.
Not here. I hope that answers your questions. You didn't miss anything if you're here in Victoria.
Right.
For the traffic, not much going on. It's pretty clear out there. No crashes, no major delays, no waits at BC ferries. All of the no, I'm incorrect. The 7 o'clock is now a one sailing wait. It wasn't a second ago when I looked, but now it is full. We have an 8 o'clock sailing that is already about 90% full, so it's going to be one of those busy days. Actually, I'm looking ahead. The 4 o'clock sailing is already full this afternoon with reservations. It's only a Thursday, guys. Why are you... Why is it so busy?
Everybody's getting out of Dodge.
Yeah, apparently. For the weather forecast, we have mainly sunny skies today, highs up to 24 degrees, a bit of humidity, and the smoke haze. Let's talk about that.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Let's get into the smoke a little bit because you might see that it's coming. You might already be seeing it outside right now and might be concerned about the air quality impacts of it. But as I was mentioning in the weather forecast, our air quality health index from Environment Canada is staying at a very low range, so like a good range. Not concerning. They have a scale which starts at a 1 for being good air quality and goes to a 10 plus for bad air quality. And they're predicting we'll only get as high as about a 3 as the day goes on. We're at a 1 right now, apparently, getting up to a 3. And while that is something, it's still in a low-risk category. We talked to Donna Haga, air quality meteorologist with the BC Ministry of Environment and Parks, on the Josh and Jade show, and she kind of talked about what we're seeing right now.
We've seen a change in the weather in the interior over the past 24 hours, and that's resulting in some smoke drifting towards Vancouver Island, and you may have started to see a bit of haze creeping in there from some of those interior fires, that smoke drifting over the southern island at the moment.
And she talked a bit about how it's staying fairly high in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, low-level haze can still be associated with levels that would fall into the air quality health index in that low-risk category. Like anywhere from a 1, 2, or 3 is in the low risk. And at a 2 or a 3, you might still see some of that low-level haze. Some of it might be staying higher up in the atmosphere, so it may not all be coming down to ground level, and that small amount that is coming down is what would be captured in the index at the moment.
Yeah, so a little bit coming down, but a lot of it seems to be staying higher. And how bad could it get over the next couple of days?
The models right now are showing the possibility for impacts sort of on the order of what the southern island is seeing right now into tomorrow and Friday. At times there may be zero impact. At times there may be this low-level haze that you're experiencing at the moment. And then beyond that, there's so much uncertainty with the models, just given how quickly the fire activity and the smoke production can change. So we don't usually talk too much about what's going to happen beyond a couple days.
But there you go. That's for the next couple of days. It's going to be hazy. It shouldn't get too bad. But they do say, everybody's an individual, and some people might be more susceptible than others. So even though it's going to be a low health risk, if you are particularly sensitive to it, I guess just, be cautious that it'll be around in the air for the next couple of days.
Yeah. Anybody with breathing issues can tell you as soon as it's showing up.
Yeah, you notice.
It's like wasabi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can feel it in my sinuses first, but I certainly feel it in my lungs. It's like I just can't get a lung full of air. It's a strange feeling, but if you're asthmatic, you get it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at firesmoke.ca right now. It looks like around 10 or 11 o'clock today, whether it actually comes down to our level or not, it's going to thicken up. You might see it higher in the sky, but it'll look hazier.
You'll see the haze.
And that's going to last till about 5 o'clock, according to firesmoke.ca.
We'll keep our eyes on it. And actually, we're going to talk to an expert on health sciences on smoke a little later in the 7 o'clock hour. So stand by as we continue to cover that. But I want to tell you about a horse I met yesterday.
You met a horse, did you?
I met a horse named Pongo.
Were you in a bar? No.
In a bar. Why the long face? No,
Pongo?
Pongo was the horse's name.
Okay.
I went to go visit the Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association. They're out in central Saanich, very near Keating, kind of in that area.
Okay.
They've been going for decades. They are one of the recipients of grant money from CFAX Santa's Anonymous. And as we've been talking about the Kids Count Mega Summer 50/50, our raffle raising money for Kids Count, helping kids beyond Christmas. This is a great example of helping kids beyond Christmas. And it was neat to go out and check it out because as the person I was talking to, their executive director, Liz, who's actually joining us on the radio in about half an hour. So we're going to talk to her more about this. I'll let her explain it a bit better. But
Tell us more about Pongo.
Yeah.
Because I love horses, but I can't be around them.
But because you got an allergy, don't you?
Well, that's why I wasn't with you yesterday.
Yeah. But she'll talk about why it's much more than just riding a horse. And I got to see that firsthand, that there's like a real miracle that happens with certain kids and these horses, kids who have challenges that could be all kinds of challenges in life,
right.
Mental health or physical disabilities, all these things. But there's so many different ways the horses kind of break through. And we'll get to that a little later. But I'll tell you about Pongo. So I went out just to sort of
more about Pongo,
see where the charity money is being spent and meet some of the kids that are being helped. But they did put me with a horse named Pongo. And
Pongo is gentle, I take it?
Yeah.
Pongo is for newbies?
Therapeutic horse, I guess, is going to be gentle.
Do you consider yourself a cowboy?
No, but for a brief moment, for 5 minutes
maybe. Did you
maybe.
feel it? Yeah.
But I had, so they passed me the reins of this horse. So I'm standing, I'm on the ground and I'm holding this horse. And CTV Vancouver Island was there to showcase this as well. And I was talking to the camera while holding this horse. And Pongo was, I think, a little irritated that I was not paying attention to him, and I was paying attention to the camera. So all of a sudden I'm speaking to the camera, and then bump, this big horse head kind of nudges into me and pushes me.
Hey.
And it's very gentle at the same time, trying to just tell me, hey, pay attention to me. Come on. Give me some love. What was this camera thing you're talking to?
I like it.
It was really funny.
So Pongo kind of, he held court then.
Yeah.
He pretty much ran the show.
You're here for me.
Okay, so if the producers from Yellowstone call for you to do some wrangling for them, like to be an extra on the show, would you go for it?
Oh,
you
yeah.
and Pongo?
That'd be pretty fun.
You feel like a team?
As long as I can bring Pongo. I'll tell you more about my horse adventures yesterday, but that was my favorite story. I did ride around the little riding ring for a few moments.
Did they lead you?
Oh, yes. I was very much babysat.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, it was good.
That's awesome. It's exciting.
Texters have an answer for us about BC Ferries, by the way.
Okay.
We mentioned,
What's
hey,
happening?
BC Ferries looks very busy. Of course, I forgot. I can't believe I forgot this. It is the CFAX Summer of Rock, and AC/DC are in town in Vancouver.
They're in Vancouver, across the pond.
That's tonight. So 2 different texters letting me know it's probably people heading over to the AC/DC concert. Enjoy the show, everybody, particularly the winners here from CFAX 1070
Aren't they
who got
going by
tickets.
Helijet?
Well, I guess the folks who didn't win
are taking the
have got to
ferry.
take the ferry.
So I want to hear from the rock stars that got the Helijet ride.
Yeah, let us know. Give us a text message after the show. Let us know how it went. We'll read those out tomorrow. Right now, we got to get to the 6:30 news. Lisa's got your top stories of the day next. Monty Python's Spam-A-Lot coming to the Royal Theatre this month. And CFAX wants to send you, lovingly ripped off from the film classic Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the Tony Award-winning Spam-A-Lot has everything you need for a great night at the theater. Flying cows, killer rabbits, rubbery shrubbery, and of course, the Lady of the Lake. Listen to Mornings with Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070 for your chance to win a pair of tickets. Details at cfax1070.com.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 6:31 on this Thursday, August 13th. A little smoke haze with us today. Otherwise, it's a sunny day with temperatures up to 24. Humidex of 28, feeling warm today. Right now, though, the news begins at 6:32, and let's get to the 6:30 news with Lisa Best.
The dangers of e-scooters and e-bikes and mixing them with kids is coming to light again. New data highlights the danger it is for kids in this country. The Canadian Pediatric Surveillance Program says 10 children died from the use these electronic devices last year. 6 of those deaths in Ontario. 12 more patients admitted to intensive care units. 26 treated in hospital for more than 2 days. Dr. Daniel Rosenfeld is a pediatric emergency physician at Toronto's Hospital for Sick Children.
When you start looking at these devices as kind of motor vehicles as opposed to children's toys, which often they're kind of marketed as, sometimes it's surprising it's only that, unfortunately, given how many kids you see. Almost every metropolitan and frankly even rural settings in Canada are seeing tons of these devices.
We've been hearing from a lot of doctors, ER doctors across BC too, with the same complaints. Rosenfeld says only one patient came to the ER with a scooter-related injury in 2020. Last year, there were 107. Premier David Eby came away from his visit to Penticton yesterday saying there are lessons learned from the Summerland area wildfire, but of course, a lot of unpacking still has to happen. And the evacuees have to go home if they have a home to go back to. Eby met with volunteers, firefighters, residents, and local elected officials impacted by the blaze. He believes, after speaking with municipal leaders, that we are dealing with a new normal.
Anticipating an event that would require an evacuation alert and then an actual evacuation was not a luxury that they had. That this happened immediately and that the numbers of people who were moved out of the community were large, and that resulted in an initial period of 24 to 48 hours of huge demand on services that were just not ready. And that there's an important set of lessons for us to take about how quickly this moved, and that this may be our new normal for fire speed. And that a crucial piece of work that we have to do is an after-action review, which we will do, to determine how we can be as prepared as possible to ensure the supports are there.
And we heard the same thing from Jasper, that fire last year. A firefighter said it was like a wall of fire rushing towards them. The Premier said he was on hand yesterday for a bright moment, witnessing one fire victim being reunited with her cat while he was visiting there. Speaking of animals, that Bald Range wildfire, which still burns out of control at nearly 200 square kilometers in size, has raised questions about the fate of a group of mountain goats whose habitat lies in the perimeter of the blaze. Biologist Michael Noonan, who teaches at UBC Okanagan campus, can only speculate about what's happened to the animals, but he's not optimistic.
There's a very good chance that, many animals were lost. And we'll have to know for sure. We'll have to go and do surveys after the fact, because these populations are disconnected, fragmented from one another, and fairly small. There are risks that a few fires like this can eliminate those animals from our region entirely.
And there's been unconfirmed sightings on social media, but the Peachland Fire and Rescue Service says it has no information about the animals at this point. In Ontario, a third batch of whales that left that shuttered theme park for aquariums south of the border. Marineland calls it a major milestone in its efforts to carry out the biggest collective move of captive whales. Retired Marineland employee Tom Western was at the park yesterday. He's for the transfer. He says he's very glad that he had a chance to say goodbye to some old friends.
They each have their own individual personalities, and you get to know them, they get to know you, and you watch them develop and grow through all the different steps.
Tom Western worked at Marineland for over 40 years. 2/3 of Marineland's whales have now been relocated, with only 11 remaining on site. Marineland said it hopes to have all the whales gone by the end of the month. And Travis Kelce can't stop talking about his Madison Square Garden wedding to Taylor Swift last month.
The knot is tied and everyone still seems to want details, with the Kansas City Chiefs tight end fielding questions about his wedding right out of the gate.
It was a fun off season, man. Wedding was the best night of my life. And I appreciate everybody who came out and celebrated and had fun with us.
The internet fawning over Kelce calling Swift,
my wife,
their wedding a star-studded event that shut down part of 7th Avenue in New York City back on July 3rd. Kelce says being at MSG was a childhood dream of his. In New York, I'm Natalie Migliori.
Pretty cute. That's your news to 6:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking you, how confident are you that you won't fall victim to a scam? You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 6:37.
Thank you, Lisa. Today we've got a little smoke haze in the air. Otherwise, we have sunshine, and right now it's 12 degrees at the airport as our official temperature. More in weather to come. Right now, let's get to the CFAX 1070 sports. Toronto Blue Jays exploded for 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning and held on for a 6-4 victory over the visiting Boston Red Sox. Toronto has now won 10 of its last 14 games, including 3 straight against Boston, to make a push for the American League wildcard race. Manager John Schneider says there's a different vibe around the clubhouse ever since the trade deadline that saw a number of veterans move out.
Some young guys, kind of bringing some energy, and there's some guys that have some things to prove, and that rubs off on everyone. So it's a good feeling right now.
The Blue Jays and the Red Sox wrap up their 4-game set this afternoon at the Rogers Centre. There's some football right here on CFAX 1070 tonight as the BC Lions look for a 3rd straight win in the CFL, visiting the Calgary Stampeders. The Lions still in the West Division cellar with a record of 3-5. Still time. Stampeders beat the Lions last time they met, 41-22. That was back in June when they held a game in Kelowna, when you remember the BC Place Stadium was being used for this little soccer tournament that was going on. What else is going on in the wild world of sports? Well, it's a big start for Canada at the Pan-Pacific Swimming Championships going on in California. The country captured 5 medals in the first day of competition, with Blake Tierney winning gold in the men's 100-meter backstroke and Summer McIntosh taking silver in the women's 200-meter freestyle. Taylor Ruck of Kelowna captured 3 bronze medals and will look to add more to that tally when she races the 100-meter freestyle coming up in the competition. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports to 6:39. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It's pretty clear up there on the roads right now, but it's very busy at BC Ferries. 7 o'clock sailing is full, and there are a lot of reservations throughout the day ahead. And as listeners have been reminding us, it's the AC/DC concert going on in Vancouver tonight, so there's a lot of reasons why people might be taking a ferry over to the mainland. Back onto the roads. This isn't an active thing. This is actually just sort of a nice thing to mark, a milestone to mention that the Keating overpass, the flyover, that construction project, has officially been declared finished. I guess that means we got no more construction speed zones anywhere in there.
Are we sure?
Well, they did give us the full...
We got the green, okay.
The full all clear there, so that's exciting.
What's the speed limit there now?
I think, is it 80 or 90 at that point? Because I know parts of the Pat Bay turn 90 at some point. I just can't remember where that is.
It's further up, I think.
I think it is. That's probably the 80.
Have you taken the flyover yet?
Actually, you know what? I took it yesterday to go visit Pongo the horse.
Wow. It worked fine?
Yeah, it's great. Actually, it's just absolutely fine. I never really thought about it until they started construction on it. But when you started to think about how we've got a highway, which is getting increasingly busy, and we had these two left turns.
I thought about it a lot of times when I saw people turning there. I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's two of them back to back.
I know.
The left turns across a highway at the top of a hill where you can't see what's coming at you.
Yeah.
I just always took it for granted because I grew up with this thing, and I grew up on the peninsula, so I drove it all the time. But then once they said, we got to fix the safety hazard, it's like, what safety hazard? Oh, I guess you're right. That is kind of crazy. Anyways, it's done. Apparently, Keating Crossroad flyover, the project has been declared completed.
Go take it for fun.
With the weather forecast today, mainly sunny skies, kind of, other than the smoke haze. That's the thing. It's going to be...
It looks kind of beige, actually, right now.
Although, in our harbor cam shot showing the harbor and the Empress Hotel, it does make for a nice sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a weirdly nice...
Sunset will be pretty,
the
too.
The haze isn't nice, but the sunset looks cool.
Yeah.
We'll see a humidex of 28 today, otherwise a high 24. Clear skies, other than the haze. Tonight, lows to 12. And tomorrow, there's a risk of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. I don't think we're expecting much in the way of precipitation, but we might see some thunderclaps. It's just a risk of it, though. No guarantees. And
then we see some lightning?
Possibly, which is not a good thing with fires.
No.
So we'll see how it goes. Saturday and Sunday looking sunny with temperatures in about the 24-degree range.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Oh, hey, the CFAX Morning Show is brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps for a comfortable home, nomad of the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort. South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. We love it when you join the conversation at 7:10:10. I got a lot of people weighing in on the Perseids. Mm-hmm. We were talking about how the meteor shower was last night, although it was a bit hazy. This texter at 7:10:10 says, "Good morning, Ryan and Lisa. I went to Cattle Point. Stayed until 11 p.m. The place was full of cars. I thought I saw a few Perseid meteors. Maybe next year. Except from flashlights and car lights, the park was so dark, I felt I was somewhere else." That's, I guess, because people kept mentioning Cattle Point was a good spot. That's good to hear that it was dark.
And it doesn't have a lot of lights there. So, and you're blanketed, you're buffeted by the trees on the other side. You've got trees between you and the water, so that would sort of kill some of the city lights, too.
Yeah. This texter says, "Good morning, Ryan and Lisa. I settled myself onto my outdoor lounge chair last night, complete with a pillow, blanket, and a beverage, and a wee shot of bug spray. Managed to see 2 meteors before the haze actually blotted out the stars, so I decided to give up around 1 a.m. and go to bed." Okay, so there was a clear patch. That's good to hear.
Okay.
I was definitely fast asleep at that time of day. But and then this texter has something different to say. I was talking about meeting Pongo the horse yesterday at the Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association.
Correct.
Texter says, "Good morning, Ryan and Lisa from beautiful West Bay in Esquimalt. It sounds like Pongo likes to stir up some drama." That is fantastic.
Well done.
I just
That's way better than the long face.
The texter goes on to say, "Myself, I'm terrified of horses, so good on you, Ryan." Let's talk more about this. I've got the executive director of the Therapeutic Riding Association out there. You know, over the Keating flyover, you just take that and then into that area.
The Keating flyover, and you're there.
Yeah, we're going to talk
horseback.
more about why this is actually a really important thing. Why it's more than just kids riding horses.
Now, is it kids and adults, or is it just children?
Well, I saw the kids.
Okay.
And certainly CFAX and Anonymous supports the children who use this for therapeutic needs. But let's ask. I'll ask about adults. I'm not sure. Let's find out more next.
Like that.
Right now, though, it's time for the headlines. Here's Lisa.
The premier of our province amidst the horrific wildfire that forced more than 20,000 people at home last weekend across the South Okanagan moved at a dizzying pace. And it may represent the new normal when it comes to how fast flames can spread in dry conditions. While visiting thousands of evacuees in Penticton yesterday, the premier extended his sympathies to everyone who have unknown losses at this point and understands the anxiety they're dealing with. He says the Bald Range fire outran the modeling forecast for it. The chief of the Penticton Indian Band says the province must do more to help mitigate these disasters by addressing logging practices and drought conditions. In New Westminster, police are warning residents about several cases of people finding fraudulent QR codes attached to local parking meters. Police say the victims would then scan the codes labeled as "scan to pay" on the meters and be directed to a seemingly legitimate site to pay. Later, they noticed large amounts of money withdrawn from accounts. One victim lost $2,000. Police say New Westminster does not use QR codes to pay for parking. Investigators looking into the case and have removed some of the stickers, but it's something to watch that in case it hits this side of the pond. And a health expert is offering advice on how to better manage stress. We try on a daily basis. Sometimes we succeed and sometimes it goes sideways on us. Sandra Darling is a preventative medicine physician at Cleveland Clinic. She says chronic stress can impact your memory, make it very hard to concentrate, contribute to brain fog, and actually it ages your brain. In order to manage it, she recommends regular exercise, a healthy diet, and a consistent sleep schedule. All important things, but sometimes a challenge. She also says it's important to make time for activities you enjoy, and practicing meditation can help as well. That's your news to 647.
All right, we're going to talk horses in just a moment. Also get your traffic and weather updated. If you see anything out there, text me at 71010. Or maybe you're heading over to see AC/DC in Vancouver and you're stuck in a ferry lineup. We can hear from you too at 71010. Let us know how the day's going.
Jade's Pet Rescue on CFAX 1070.
Hey, it's Jade, and I love fur babies. Who's a good doggy? Who's a good doggy? Which is why we're bringing you Jade's Pet Rescue. Whether your dwelling lacks a doggo or your crib needs a kitty, we're teaming up with the BCSPCA to play matchmaker. Let's find our new four-legged friend some forever homes. Keep an eye on our socials for the next pet up for adoption.
Jade's Pet Rescue is powered by Galaxy Motors. More info at cfax1070.com.
CFAX 1070 traffic and weather on the roads. Everything's pretty clear right now. No crashes, no problems. We're starting to see a bit of volume delay from the West Shore into Victoria, but it's just people going slow on the Trans-Canada Highway through the construction zone and the bus lane widening. The big story is BC Ferries, where it is already a sailing wait at 7, and there are heavy reservations through the day. The 4 o'clock, for instance, completely full already with reservations. We got the AC/DC concert in Vancouver tonight, so a lot of people are heading over to the mainland. We have in the weather, a little smoke haze. Although we've been hearing from the air quality experts that we're not expecting the air quality that we breathe down low to be too bad, but the haze is kind of up high, and it's going to be certainly present today. We'll see otherwise sunny skies and highs of 24. A humidex of 28 degrees, so feeling a little warmer in that humidity. Clear skies tonight, lows to 12, and a little wind off the water.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
I would like to introduce you to somebody who helped me ride a horse yesterday, which was a lot of fun. Liz Gagel is Executive Director of the Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association out in Central Saanich, and it's great to get you on the radio with us this morning, Liz. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
And it was good. Thank you for having me yesterday. I went out to the Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association. I got to see all the kids riding the horses. I got to see how the CFAX Annis Anonymous grants that we've been helping you out with for all those years have been helping provide this great experience for kids. And you and I had a conversation while we were there about how some people think this is just kids riding horses. But it's so much deeper than that, and I'm really glad that we have a chance here to talk about the experience, because I got to see it firsthand yesterday, but I think you'd be the best person to explain what it is you do. Tell me more about the Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association.
Yeah, thanks so much. The Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association, we provide therapeutic horseback riding and other fun horse-related activities and programs to people with disabilities in the greater Victoria area. But as you're saying, it is a lot more than pony rides for kids. We are working definitely on our participants' health and wellness goals above their kind of riding goals. But horses are such great teachers, and we have so much to learn from animals and animal therapy. So yeah, a lot of our participants are working on health and wellness goals. So that could be physical, cognitive, emotional, or behavior goals that they want to work on. So we really use the horses and the natural environment of the farm to help them reach those goals and a better quality of being in life.
Liz, you said horses are good teachers. How is that?
Yeah. Horses in their natural state are herd animals, and they're prey animals. So horses have very sensitive ways. They can hear your heart rate, they can hear you breathing, and they can smell your hormones. So there's no lying to horses. They can read you from pretty far away. And in the wild, they're in tune with each other. So they're constantly looking out for predators and listening to each other. If one horse jumps and needs to move, all the horses need to run to get away from that. And that really relates into the therapeutic work they do for our participants, because they can really help our participants regulate, calm them down, hear their breathing, slow down their heart rate, slow down their respiratory rate, and really want them to be in tune and be more within themselves, which is really wonderful. Also, horses are big, beautiful, strong animals, and their movement really can move our pelvises when we ride them the same way that our pelvises move when we're walking. So a lot of people who are working on physical goals get that same type of movement and that same type of exercise that you would from going from a brisk walk or running a little bit or having to balance and work on your fine stabilizational muscles. You think about us, we sit all the time, or someone who uses a wheelchair maybe in their everyday lives, they're sitting quite a bit. So when they have to get up on a horse for 45 minutes in their riding, they're really using all those fine stabilization muscles that we wouldn't normally use in our everyday sedentary lives. And it is a big workout, and it can really improve the overall health of our spine and our core stability just by being up on a horse and being out in nature and being out at the farm.
That's a good point. Ryan, how are you feeling today? You sore?
Actually, I'm feeling pretty good.
Saddle sore?
I was a little surprised. Although Liz, you can attest, I was only on the horse you put me on. His name was Pongo, and he was beautiful. But I only went for like a 5-minute ride. I'm sure I would have felt a little different if it was a bigger one.
It was really fun out there. The kids were actually trying to give Ryan pointers on how to ride. It was absolutely hilarious. We were having so much fun.
There was one girl who was like, "Your stirrups are too long."
No judging.
It was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. And Pongo was cool. I was telling the story earlier about I was talking to the camera because there's a TV camera there as well, because we were doing some promotion for all of this. And the Kids Count Mega Summer 50/50 raffle, because by the way, we're raising money right now for Kids Count. It's how CFAX Annis Anonymous helps kids beyond Christmas. And so we were talking about that on the camera. And Pongo was, I think, annoyed that I was paying attention to somebody else, and so started nudging me and being like, "Hey, dude, over here. I'm the thing to pay attention to."
Yeah, he was looking for scratches and attention, that's for sure.
It was great, and then I got to go for a little ride. It was fantastic. But the best part for me, more than being on the horse, was seeing some of the kids and their interactions with the horses, and just the stuff you were explaining just now. Like it's physical, muscle building for people who might be in a wheelchair or otherwise having disabilities. And you've told me about people who come that are completely, maybe closed into themselves, but then they get with a horse and they open up, and there's magical moments like that.
We have moments like that almost every single day. I've been doing this for 17 years, and still every day on the farm, there are moments like that touch me, that make me laugh, that make me say, wow, I can't believe how awesome this program is. As the executive director, I still try to go into the arena and go into and hang out with the participants and the horses, because you see that all the time. You could see the communication from Pongo, right, Ryan? That even though he doesn't speak English, he's trying to tell you something. And it's such a magical and natural way of interacting, because horses use their body language and their energy to communicate what they want. So it's not as an intimidating environment as, some traditional schools or traditional therapies might be for some of these participants. So, we've had parents tell us that this is one of the places that saved their lives. Their child has just come completely out of their shell, where they have tried every other intervention and therapy and nothing's worked. And it's really just being out in nature and being with the horses and building confidence of having to control a 1,000-pound animal as a child, right? That's got to be uplifting and gaining independence and strength and confidence to be in control of these big, beautiful creatures.
Definitely confidence. Do you pair the child with one horse?
That's what we try to do. There is a lot of relationship building and partnership that comes along. So we definitely try to do that. What can happen, though, is a student can change their goals as they've been riding with us. And change to a different horse that might be a little bit better suited for a different goal that they decide to work on. But there is a lot of the connection there. We have 12 therapy horses, and each one of those horses belongs basically to, at least 10 different participants a year, because they just have such a strong connection that someone will say, Trigger is my horse. We have so many people who say that. I think I can't tell them that Trigger belongs to about 20 people.
Fair enough.
Real quick, we got just a couple of seconds here, but I have two questions. Yeah. Lisa, before we got Liz on the radio, we were asking, is it just kids? Do adults participate in this?
So, yeah, our program provides services to all ages and all abilities. Okay. So the youngest is probably 4 and the oldest is probably 80. But the summer camps that CFAX Santa's Anonymous supports is kids and youth. So that is under the age of 18 that come out during our summer programs.
Perfect. And that's what I wanted to get into as well, that, CFAX Santa's Anonymous does support that summer camp. It's one of the ways your donations to CFAX Santa's Anonymous helps out. And we got the Kids Count Mega Summer 50/50 raffle right now, and it went up over $19,000 just this morning. Half that 50/50 jackpot going to charity, half of it going to the winner. That's where we're at right now, Liz.
Amazing.
Liz, I got one more question. Just when you do receive money from Santa's, what does it pay for?
Yeah, it pays for these kids to come to camp. Horses are not cheap. The price of hay is pretty expensive, and they're very particularly chosen to be very, very amazing horses at this job. So their care, paying our summer staff, so we have certified instructors that are coming in to facilitate the staff, and allowing these kids who have barriers and financial barriers to be able to access the program so that we don't have to turn anybody away.
It's amazing. The Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association there in Central Saanich. I got to visit yesterday. Liz Gagiel is here, Executive Director. So we got to let you go, but I'll ask one last quick question. How did I do on the horse?
Oh, you were phenomenal. I was actually super jealous. You have a natural position.
Cowboy Ryan.
Oh, thank you.
I know. You got to come back.
Okay. Now I'm hooked. Okay. Liz, it's been great to meet you here on the radio and yesterday at the Riding Association. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for all CFAX Santa's Anonymous does for us and our programs.
7 o'clock news next on CFAX.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is Thursday, August 13th, 7:02, and time for the news. And here is Lisa Best.
Thank you. Experts warning that the U.S. president's threatened new tariffs, which could come into place next week, August 19th, could drive wedges between Canadian provinces and allow Washington to exploit regional grievances in trade talks. The tariffs are set to take effect next week. August 19th would have particularly heavy impact on industries concentrated in this province and also small towns across Quebec. UBC political scientist Stuart Press says it's important that Ottawa helps regions that could be hardest hit or face the prospect of deep divisions between the provinces on how to respond to Washington's requests.
We have to, as a country, find means to provide relief to specifically targeted companies as well. Again, providing options, providing relief, providing alternatives. That can't fully supplant the American demand, but at least can lessen the impact and provide survival strategies for those firms whose business is fundamentally threatened.
Press notes that Alberta and Saskatchewan have broken with their peers by restoring consumer sales of U.S. alcohol products, while the remaining retaliatory booze bans in other provinces at provincial alcohol sales points are infuriating U.S. officials. Premier David Eby came away from his visit in Penticton yesterday saying there's lessons learned from the Summerland area wildfire, and they're hard ones. Eby met with volunteers, firefighters, residents who were evacuated, and also locally elected officials impacted by the fire. He says he felt the impact of people working together to help their neighbors.
The remarkable piece of all of this has been how folks have come together. For volunteers, I met volunteers from as far away as Parksville, from Prince George, from Soyuz. There were volunteers working here. There's people working in the regional district office who themselves were evacuated from Summerland and from the region. And the overwhelming spirit here is coming together to support neighbors and friends and British Columbians, and it is highly inspiring and incredibly moving.
And sad, too. Eby believes, after speaking with municipal leaders, that we may be dealing with a new normal when it comes to wildfires. He promised a review to see what lessons can be learned from such a fast-moving blaze that ripped through the Okanagan region. Officials in the village of Clinton says more than $15,000 in fines have been issued to those defying a wildfire-related evacuation order over the past couple of weeks. The Pear Lake wildfire forced residents to evacuate 3 weeks ago on July 24th. While local officials say they sympathize with the stress and uncertainty of dealing with a long evacuation period of time, residents were urged to abide the order or face the fines. Officials say, luckily, there's been no reports of looting. Officials say the power has been restored to the village of 600, which means some people are actually able to view their properties through surveillance cameras. Work continues to assess damage. A violation ticket for entering an area under evacuation comes with a fine of over $1,100. Harsh new data, highlighting again how dangerous e-scooters and e-bikes can be for kids. The Canadian Pediatric Surveillance Program says 10 children died last year from using these electronic devices in the country. 12 more patients admitted to intensive care units and 26 treated in hospital over a 2-day period. That's just in Ontario. We've heard from many ERs across BC with the same issues. A pediatric emergency physician at Toronto's Hospital for Sick Children, Dr. Daniel Rosenfeld, says he rarely works a shift now without an e-scooter injury walking in the door.
They're inherently unstable. They go very quickly, and people have almost no protection in them or around them. So unfortunately, that number didn't surprise me. And, I suspect we missed a few cases as well.
Researchers surveyed 800 doctors in the field to gather information. The report is one of the first to show the national scale of severe injuries for young people using e-devices. That's your news to 7:06. Our CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning, we're asking you how confident you are that you won't fall victim to a scam. 33%, a third, say they're very confident it won't happen. 51% say they're somewhat confident. 8% not at all. And 7% say they've already been scammed. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, the best your news time is 7:08.
Thank you, Lisa. It's 12 degrees right now. A little smoke haze in the sky in Victoria. Full weather forecast to come. Right now over to CFAX 1070 Sports. Hey, it's a BC Lions kind of night on CFAX. 6 o'clock is the kickoff. It's in Calgary, so there's the time zone thing there. And CFAX will have the broadcast beginning at 5 at the pregame show. They're looking for a third straight win in the CFL as they visit the Stampeders. Lions still in the West Division cellar with a record of 3-5. And head coach Buck Pierce says he wants to continue to see improvement from offense, defense, and special teams with this game in Calgary.
Inconsistent throughout the first half of the season and haven't really played three-phase football yet. So those are the things we need to improve on. But, I think each phase is taking steps.
The Stampeders beat the Lions 41-22 in their last meeting back in June in Kelowna. For the Toronto Blue Jays, they got a bit of momentum behind them. They exploded for 5 runs at the bottom of the 8th inning and held on for a 6-4 victory over the visiting Boston Red Sox last night. Manager John Schneider was speaking about some of the luck they've been experiencing recently. For instance, on their way to beating Boston last night, Toronto had a 5-run 8th inning, thanks in part to a Red Sox infielder dropping a pop-up in foul territory.
Maybe the baseball gods are changing their mind about us, after about 10 months. You never know, but you know what I mean? You got to take advantage of mistakes. So maybe, a month ago, a couple weeks ago, that ball would have been fair, would have been infield fly rule, but from me to the baseball gods, thanks. Keep it coming.
And they're in the thick of a crowded playoff spot now, just 1.5 games back of a wild card spot currently held by Texas, with 3 other teams between them and the Rangers. And the tennis is really heating up with the finals today. On the women's side, a new champion will be crowned at the National Bank Open in Toronto. Former world number 1 Iga Swiatek will take on Elena Rybakina in the final. We have on the men's side, which is happening in Montreal, defending champion Ben Shelton meeting Brandon Nakashima in the final. Both of those going today in those respective cities. And that's your sports to 7:10. Hey, CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Heading out on a summer road trip? Shop at Thrifty Foods. Swipe your Scene Plus card to save up to 15 cents per liter at Shell. See in store for details. On the roads, things are picking up when it comes to the West Shore commute. We're seeing a few volume delays, but it's nothing unusual. And it's the only blip on the radar. Everything else is looking pretty clear today. For the weather, it's a little less clear. We've got some haze with us. Mainly sunny skies in theory, but a lot of smoke haze at times. Highs of 24, humidex of 28 degrees, and overnight lows of 12. And back to the smoke for a second. Even though we're seeing a lot of it, we were talking to an air quality meteorologist yesterday, Josh and Jade were, mentioning that it seems like at the moment it's fairly high up in the atmosphere, so our air quality is not actually expected to get too bad. You might still notice it at times, but it should stay at a fairly low health risk despite seeing it kind of up in the atmosphere. For the BC ferries, I'll go there again because it's been busy. Almost full at 8. There's reservation. Oh, no, just as I was talking, it filled up. So the 8 o'clock sailing is full. It's a 1 sail wait, and there are heavy reservations throughout the day. It is the AC/DC concert in Vancouver. There's a lot of folks heading over onto the air. onto the air, heading over to the mainland. I don't know where I was going with that.
You were thinking of two things at once.
Yeah, it's too many. My mind was getting ahead of my mouth.
Synapses are firing.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, let's talk a bit more.
About Pongo.
I was thinking about my horse ride yesterday. That's right. It was great meeting the Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association. Somebody was asking it on the text message, actually. Hey, what was the name of that place again you just talked about? Yeah, the Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association. If you missed that conversation, great reason to listen to the podcast. Ryan and Lisa, the podcast, on any of your favorite podcast services, including the iHeartRadio app. You can check it out. Hey, on the markets, let's get our first look at the numbers today. We've got on the S&P TSX in Toronto a gain so far of about 5 points to 36,667. The Dow Jones Industrial is up 121 to 53,891. The NASDAQ is up 210 to 26,799. Canadian dollar down just a fraction to 71.7 cents US.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Texter at 71010 says, while driving to work today, you can definitely tell that there's smoke in the air. The sun is a pinky orange blob in the sky. Yeah, it's one of those sunrises where it's pretty, but also kind of ominous. It's both those things, I find, when you get the smoke in the air and the way that the sunrises and sunsets go.
Yeah, it's nice until you realize what's causing it.
Yeah.
And then you just seems very, what do they say? Red skies at night, sailors delight. Red skies at morning, sailors take warning. Now we've got the warning night and day.
Yeah.
Or night and evening, dawn and dusk.
We were also talking about the Keating flyover.
Yeah, we
The fact that it's officially done. They've declared it over.
You can fly over it.
The project is finished. Texter at 71010 says, good morning. Speaking of the Keating flyover, as a courier driver, it is absolutely great. Whoever designed this was definitely not the same designer who did the airport roundabout.
Oh. Don't like that one, hey?
Love listening to you guys on my way to work in the morning. Helps my commute to Victoria be less stressful. Have a great day. Oh, thank you. That's such a wonderful message.
That's good.
And
anybody knows the roads and how to grade the roads, it would be the couriers.
Yeah, it's true. I'd love to do a ranking. Best intersection on the highways of Victoria. Yeah. Keating is going high up on the list. That's good to hear.
They know.
The McTavish interchange, not so much. I always felt bad about the McTavish interchange because when I've driven around in Europe,
yes,
I always come home thinking, my gosh, roundabouts are amazing. You got like full speed highways merging into roundabouts. Nothing has to stop. It's beautiful. It's great.
Right.
And I was always preaching how we should have more roundabouts. And then they did the McTavish one, and I was like, oh no. Oh no, everybody hates this.
Sorry, why does everybody hate it?
I think it's because it's several roundabouts all jammed together.
Okay. That's true.
I think it was just one roundabout.
You've got to have your wits about you.
There's like 3 in a row.
True.
And we went from a community that had no roundabouts to all of a sudden this massively complicated 3 roundabout jam up. So I think that's my interpretation of what happened.
It's a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah.
I take my students through it on purpose.
Right.
It's like, okay, we got to take this, and I can see the fear in their eyes, but we get through it. Well, we all get through it, of course. Unless we turn left where we shouldn't.
And then you're just going around the roundabout going, I guess I live here now.
Well, the ones in Europe, that's how you feel.
Yeah.
Because they're 5-6 thick?
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
And if you don't get yourself in the right lane position, you could stay there for days.
Yeah, and they're aggressive. That's the other thing I learned is you just have to go for it. And just hope for the best.
Don't listen to Ryan. He was a cowboy yesterday.
Just go for it. Yeah, I've got cowboy brain right
Giver.
now. It's 7:16. Time for the headlines. What's going on, Lisa?
Newly released court documents reveal there was early confusion in Tumbler Ridge in February around the number of shooters involved in that deadly mass shooting in the community. The legal documents were released as part of a court challenge by a medium consortium. The documents describe the first moments when police responded to the attack that happened February 10th and how different names for the teen shooter, Jesse Van Rootseller, initially led police to believe that there were actually 2 attackers involved in the incident. Canada's culture sector is urging Prime Minister Mark Carney not to scrap rules involving financial contributions from foreign streaming companies for Canadian content. Multiple organizations signed a letter to Carney saying the $600 million in annual funding promised by Ottawa to replace contributions by former streaming companies is not the same as legally enforceable contributions. The CRTC increased contributions for companies like Netflix to 15% before Ottawa said in June that it would issue a new policy directive to the Commission and instead provide the industry with direct annual funding. The letter for cultural organizations say government funding can be changed through the federal budget, unlike a CRTC-regulated contribution regime. And it's not clear if a small group of mountain goats that are fixtures in the evacuated community of Summerlin have actually survived that massive Bald Range wildfire still burning out of control. Motorists traveling through the community north along Highway 97 could frequently spot the white animals as they cling to the cliffs around Okanagan Lake, but their habitat fell well within the borders of that wildfire, which still burns today. Michael Noonan, the biology professor at UBC Okanagan campus, says he could speculate what happened to the animals, but there's a good chance that many of them died. Noonan says the animals did not immediately respond to the approaching fire and would be at higher risk because of how fast this latest fire was consuming land. That's your news to 7:18.
Texture 71010 on the whole roundabout thing.
Yes.
Victoria goes to other countries to see what they are doing, then comes back here and says, that works. Now let's do it our version and screw it up. Maybe we just don't take the right lessons.
That's actually pretty funny.
Texter says, good morning. I met a visitor and he asked me who the devil designed the airport roundabout. He said he kept going around and around and around.
Oh, no.
And then this texter says, good morning, Ryan and Lisa. I was living in a house that overlooked the McTavish intersection when it first opened.
Yeah.
After it became the Spaghetti Junction, we had a set of binoculars at the front window just to watch the confusion it created, and it was better than TV.
Yeah, it's
That's
kind of
from
a
Chris.
drinking game there.
I was just trying to mention that the Keating flyover is officially done. The construction project's
Yeah, but
over.
you had to say traffic circle.
That's true.
And
That's-
here we are.
That's what we do.
It's a trigger.
Well, I'm going to leave it alone for now before I stir
it's
the
too
pot
late.
anymore.
Horse
Because
barn.
we've got something important to talk about. Soberfest is coming up. This is actually a busy weekend of things. There's the Tour de Victoria bicycle race that's going to be happening. We got Soberfest going on.
That's true.
And there's more as well.
The bike race, yes. So
Yeah,
be
the bike
prepared
race
for
is
all that.
So many things happening, but Soberfest. Let's dial into that
Okay.
next. Mike Manhass, who's the guy who kind of created this and has been behind it for a little while now.
It's huge.
Let's talk about the latest edition coming up this weekend next. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season, big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. On the roads, no crashes, no incidents. A little bit of volume out of the West Shore into Victoria. Mostly seeing the slowdown on the Trans-Canada Highway as you go through the construction zone. Otherwise, things are looking clear. BC Ferries is very busy, though. We have a one-sail wait at the 8 o'clock sailing from Swartz Bay to Swassen, and heavy reservations through the day, including a full 4 o'clock sailing. It's AC/DC night in Vancouver. People heading over, I'm assuming, for that. And for the weather forecast, the smoke haze is in the air today. It'll be there through the day today. People have been talking about the big pinky orange sun. It's been rising through the haze, so we're seeing it. The air quality is not expected to get too bad, though. It seems like the smoke is mostly staying higher up in the atmosphere. But, do be careful with people who are sensitive to the smoke in the air. Highs at 24, humidex at 28 today. Clear skies overnight, lows to 12.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
This year's long-awaited Soberfest is happening on Saturday with headliners including Biff Naked, Tyler Shaw, Caleb Hart. We've got many others as well on the lineup. This is a family-friendly space where people can enjoy the music festival community without being around substances. Founder and recovery advocate Mike Manhas is joining us right now to talk more about it. Mike, great to get you on the radio again. How you doing today?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for making the time.
Yeah. A couple of days out. Is everything all ready, or are you a nervous ball of energy, or how are you feeling right now?
A bit of both. Always nervous. Always lots going on. Lots of fires, and lots of putting out fires, and lots of starting fires at this point.
For those who don't know, let's talk about Soberfest. Give us first off the where is it, when is it? We know Saturday, but what do people need to know about this festival?
It's this Saturday at Starlight Stadium. Doors open at 2:30, and we go until about 9:30, 10 o'clock. We've got a great lineup. We've got Biff Naked, Fifi Dobson, Tyler Shaw, Moon Tricks, Snack the Ripper, and Maestro Fresh West as our headliners. And then we have a lot of great local artists, like you said, Caleb Hart, a gentleman named Pindian, Stacks, and a couple others.
Yeah, it's a real neat mix of some big names that you've heard of and some great local acts as well. And it's not just about the music, it's kind of about the lack of substances, as I mentioned. It's called Soberfest. Talk about where this idea came from and how it's gone over the last few years.
It came from probably a lot of my own anxiety when I first got into recovery myself. There was nowhere you could go. Everywhere you went, there was temptation, and I always felt like there should be a place where people should practice learning how to do things before they. Our goal, I think, the biggest goal for people in recovery is we're not supposed to be pariahs. We're supposed to integrate back into community. But if we get to practice living life, going to festivals, going to community events and clubhouses, etc., like the Forge, where you can just practice doing all the stuff and socializing in a safe environment, it's easier to go to places like Rifflandia or Phillips Backyard and not be tempted by using. And then the other part was we had just lost a friend, a comedian named Matt Billen, and he had his own struggles with mental health and addictions, and we wanted to honor him and tried to raise one bed to send some of the treatment in Matt's honor. And since then, we've raised $3.5 million in treatment. We started in 2022. The show cost me $6,000 to put on back then. We got a flatbed truck. My buddy brought his speakers. A bunch of people in the community showed up to perform. And it happened. We ended up raising 6 beds that year. Since then, it's taken off. And we've raised $3.5 million this year. The show is costing us $300,000. The festivals aren't easy to put on, as we've seen with what's been going on in our community. Especially when you're not selling alcohol or drugs.
Yeah.
So we highly we rely on our community. The community stepped up huge. The community shows that we do believe in recovery and we do believe in treatment. And there's many ways to recover. Harm reduction is a piece of it, but it's not the only piece. A bigger piece is that recovery piece. And when we're out there and you have 3,000 people having a great time in a safe space, you can show that recovery matters. I don't think it's valuable anymore that we're sitting in church basements and recovering anonymously. We have to be out there making noise to show everyone that recovery is possible.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to be sequestered away because you're trying to just change your life. So this is a perfect example of getting out there and wearing it bravely and doing something different. Good for you. Labor of love, obviously, from the initial starts. But most festivals, the alcohol sales is a big amount of the money coming in. So are you getting a lot of help from the community, like the funding-wise?
We've had 8 of the municipalities. We've had quite a few municipalities like Machosen, Langford, North Saanich, Highlands, Colwood, Souk, all step up and donate a bit of money to make it happen. Not a lot, but they've all started to believe in the very first year. No one would even give us a venue because they didn't want people like us in their venue. Thinking, I don't know if they thought that we'd all be sitting up there shooting up and smoking drugs, or I don't know what they thought, which happens in festivals anyways. But they said, "Oh no, I don't think that's the right fit." And today we have the city of Langford donating Starlight Stadium plus a grant to make it happen. But a lot of it comes from, like, we've got 68 businesses gave to our raffle, which I'll plug if you're out there.
Yeah.
It's things like the raffles that help one community, one cause, one raffle. We've got $24,000 in prizes donated by our community. We've got another 50-some sponsors who've come on board. It's our business community has stepped up tremendous. We have Viking Properties who's paying for. We have a massive kid zone this year, and Viking Properties stepped up to say we'll pay for that. And so there's so many people who realize that like addiction's within arm's length of everyone right now, and recovery's within arm's length of everyone right now, and we're talking about it. So we're trying to smash that stigma. It's just it's been amazing. Like you said, it's a passion project for us. We're volunteers. The board is volunteers. I'm a volunteer, and to have just to have everyone to step up to say we believe in this. Like this, it was supposed to be a one-off. Like I was doing a one-off event in honor of Matt, and it's turned into something that the community owns now, right? And that all of us are taking part in. Like so many of us are. It's very heartfelt at how many people have come together to make a difference.
Soberfest is on this weekend, Starlight Stadium, Saturday. Tickets still available if people want to go?
We do have a limited amount of tickets available. We have over 3,000 tickets sold, so we probably have about 500 still available.
Okay. Well, a couple of days left. Get your ticket if you want to go. Mike Manhas is founder of Soberfest. He's a recovery advocate as well. And I appreciate your time and also your efforts into this great event. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for making the time.
All right, got the 7:30 news next on CFAX.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Experience Victoria Fringe Fest, August 26th through September 6th. Feel the roar at Pacific FC. Get your tickets today at cplsoccer.com. West Shore Swap Shop and Market is at Rally at Royal Bay every Sunday. Support Goldstream Food Bank with a $2 admission or a food donation.
Get more event info at cfax1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 7:32 on this Thursday, August the 13th. A little smoke in the air today, as well as otherwise sunny skies. We'll tell you the full forecast in just a moment. But right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
New data out this morning is highlighting how deadly e-scooters and e-bikes are for kids in this country.
The Canadian Pediatric Surveillance Program says 10 kids, including 6 in Ontario, died from using these electronic devices last year. 12 more children were admitted to intensive care units, and 26 were treated in hospital for more than 2 days. As a pediatric emergency physician at Toronto's Hospital for Sick Children, Dr. Daniel Rosenfield says he rarely works a shift without seeing an e-scooter injury.
They're inherently unstable. They go very quickly, and people have almost no protection in them or around them. So unfortunately, that number didn't surprise me.
The data highlights the need for better policy coordination and public education to clearly communicate the laws. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press, Toronto.
Up Island, a 65-year-old man faces 2 counts of committing an indecent act after an incident last week in Nanaimo. RCMP say they received a report last Thursday morning that a man had exposed himself to a woman while she was jogging near the waterfront trail and playground area at Maffeo Sutton Park. They found a suspect closely matching the description a short distance away. The second charge stems from an incident, another one, August 2nd on Nickel Street. Investigators are now reviewing whether there may be additional witnesses or incidents connected with the accused. BC Wildfire Update has 109 wildfires burning in this province. 50 are out of control. 19 new starts in the last day. That small fire that sparked yesterday near Coombs is considered under control at this point, so good work on that. BC Premier David Eby was in Penticton yesterday, meeting with evacuees from the Summerlin, Falder regions. David Eby says it's a horrific wildfire that forced 20,000 people out of home, and he says it moved at a dizzying pace.
There's an important set of lessons for us to take about how quickly this moved, and that this may be our new normal for fire speed, and that a crucial piece of work that we have to do is an after-action review, which we will do.
That one fire, the Bald Range Fire, has nearly doubled in size since the weekend, from 100 to now 184 square kilometers in size. One of those that Premier David Eby met with yesterday was Summerlin's Mayor, Doug Holmes.
We just had a really productive meeting with the Premier. We talked about some of the challenges of evacuating so many people on such a large scale, that it's really unprecedented for this region to have that kind of an evacuation. And we talked about the challenges we're going to have moving forward as we recover from this disaster, and that we'll need government support. This isn't something we're going to be able to do on our own.
And a third batch of whales that left the closed Ontario theme park for aquariums south of the border, Marineland, calls that a major milestone in its effort to carry out the biggest collective move of captive whales. Retired Marineland employee Tom Western was at the park yesterday to say goodbye to them. He says he's elated to see the whales move to greener pastures.
I worked here for 40 years. I was here when all the adult belugas were put in this pool, with the exception of the ones that were born here. I'm so happy that they're moving on to new homes, and they're very special.
The park's advisor says a team of specialists got 6 more belugas into tanks that were driven to Toronto's Pearson Airport for flights to aquariums in Chicago and Atlanta. 2/3 of Marineland's whales have now been relocated, with only 11 remaining at the site. That's your news to 7:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. We're asking, how confident are you that you won't fall victim to a scam? 33% say they're very confident. 51% say somewhat. 8% not at all. And 7% say they've already been scammed. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Sebastian News Time, 7:37.
Thank you, Lisa. We have some smoke haze in the air. We've got sunshine otherwise today, and the temperature in Victoria is 13 degrees right now. Full forecast to come. Right now, over to the CFAX 1070 Sports. We have some BC Lions football action right here on the radio today. The game is kicking off at 6, but we've got our coverage starting at 5 right here on CFAX Radio as the BC Lions take on the Calgary Stampeders. And after a 3-game road trip, the Stampeders have 3 straight games at home that quarterback Vernon Adams Jr. says his team needs to turn into wins.
This next game is the most important, but 3 home games, man, to do it in front of our home crowd. If we could get, 3 wins, 1 at a time, that'd be amazing.
Now, that's the Calgary Stampeders really wanting to win. Of course, the BC Lions would like to improve their record as well. Right now, they are sitting at a record of 3-5 on the season, and the Stampeders beat the Lions 41-22 in their last meeting back in June in Kelowna. So, Lions looking for revenge. In baseball, Max Scherzer is set to get the start today as the Blue Jays look to earn a 4th straight victory. Trade deadline acquisition Jose Sariano got his first home start in Toronto yesterday, helping the team win 6-4 over the visiting Red Sox. Tonight, the finale of this 4-game stretch for those 2 teams. In swimming, a big start for Canada at the Pan Pacific Swimming Championships, which are going on in California right now. The country captured 5 medals of the first day of competitions, with Blake Tierney winning gold in the men's 100-meter backstroke, Summer McIntosh taking silver in the women's 200-meter freestyle. Taylor Ruck of Kelowna captured 3 bronze medals and will look to add to the tally today when she races in the 100-meter freestyle. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports. It is 7:39. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. By the way, the morning show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps for a comfortable home no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. They're designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Hey, text me at 71010 if you see any problems on the roads. Right now, it's pretty clear. No major incidents. The big thing is BC Ferries very busy today. 8 o'clock sailing is full, so we got a 1 sail wait, and we got heavy reservations through the rest of the day. AC/DC playing in Vancouver tonight. I think a lot of folks are taking the ferry over for that. For the weather, let's dial into that because that's where things are a bit more interesting. You got mainly sunny skies today. You might not know it, though, through all the smoke haze. We've got quite a bit of haze up in the atmosphere. Air quality meteorologists telling us that a lot of the smoke is staying fairly high up, so we're not seeing the air quality get quite as bad down low, although it is still going to get up to about a 3 on the scale of 1 to 10, so people with sensitivities might still notice the smoke today. Use your own individual discretion with how you treat today. Some smoke is there. The temperatures will get up to 24 degrees. 28 is the humidex, so feeling a bit warmer, and the humidity. Clear skies tonight, other than the smoke. Lows to 12. And then tomorrow, interestingly, there's a risk of a thunderstorm late in the afternoon. Not expecting any rain out of it, but we might see the odd thunderclap maybe tomorrow, although it's just a risk of. It's not necessarily a guarantee. And then for Saturday, Sunday, looks like we stay sunny with temperatures into about the mid-20s. Right now for the temperatures, the official temperature at the Victoria International Airport is 13 degrees. In Oak Bay right now, it is also 13 degrees. On the markets, things are up for the most part. The S&P TSX in Toronto up by 15 points to 36,677. The Dow is up 265 to 54,036. Nasdaq up 255 to 26,843. Canadian dollar, though, it's down a little bit to 71.7 cents US. That's just a fraction of a cent lower than yesterday's close.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Speaking of the air quality and how you might be experiencing it today, how are you doing, Lisa?
I'm better over here now.
Okay.
I've taken an allergy pill.
Yeah, but you're feeling
I was having a moment. Oh, yeah. I actually thought, because I asked you, are you wearing anything today that you wore in the horse yesterday? Because it was that kind of reaction. But
yeah.
I've got that kind of wasabi in the sinuses thing going. So if you're feeling it too, I get it. Yeah, it's pretty prevalent today. Even though they say it's sitting higher, maybe your lungs and your sinuses are going to tell you otherwise.
We do have an expert joining us from Simon Fraser University in a few moments to talk a bit about sort of the health around hazy smoke, like what we're seeing, and what kind of effects to watch out for, kind of like what you're going through, Lisa.
Yeah.
I hope the pill works.
Oh, it'll be fine. Pills always work. But the long-term exposure is our biggest thing, right? Yeah. We're looking at.
Yeah, lots to ask our expert about when it comes to smoke in the air. That's coming up in a few moments. And then after that, you know what we're doing after that, Lisa.
What?
We're going to give away Spam-A-Lot tickets.
Oh, that's what we're doing.
Yes. Let's remind everybody that this is happening right after the 8 o'clock news, sports, weather, traffic, and all that kind of stuff. We will be giving away another pair of tickets to see Spam-A-Lot, the Broadway and Victoria musical, which is, as they put it, lovingly ripped off of the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Everybody that's gone has said they had a really good time, that they left feeling great, happy.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's Royal Theatre. We've got some tickets still left if you want to buy them, so you can buy the tickets now, cfax1070.com for details. But why not try to win? If you call me right after all of the 8 o'clock information at 250-386-1161, I will give you tickets if and only if you perform some portion of a Monty Python sketch for us.
I think everybody got the lesson this time around.
Oh, it's good.
We've had some really good soliloquies come our way.
Everyone's knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
It could be you. Texter at 71010 says, hey, I'm just driving over the top of Bear Mountain. It's definitely not sitting as low as they're saying. I can see it in the valleys, over the water, over the mountains. It's pretty bad all across the city, it seems. Interesting. Yeah, so you're seeing it really move in. We were expecting the thick smoke. I'm looking at the air quality maps, and they're still showing us at fairly low health risk. But then there's Lisa, who's got, the allergies.
It's a bit sensitive.
We got our texter here at Bear Mountain looking down going, that looks pretty smoky. So
yeah. You can see it. The skies are beige.
Yeah.
And for all indication, my lungs are also saying, yep, that's it.
Yeah.
So if you feel it, I get it.
7:45. Let's take a look at the headlines. What else is going on, Lisa?
Let's talk fires. BC farmers grappling with losing crops from the wildfires, weighing in on their bottom lines, worried about the season. Ella Braden is one of them. She owns Braden Hill Orchard and Farm. She says her farm was affected when the fires roared through Summerland. She says she hasn't been back to the property yet, but she expects to lose a lot of her annual crops, as evacuation orders also prevented her from irrigating crops in a timely fashion. Braden said the extent of the financial damage has yet to be crystallized, but she believes it could be up to half of her annual income. Earlier this week, BC Agriculture Minister Lana Popham says there were 269 registered agricultural premises that were affected by wildfire activity. Some 109 fires are still burning across the province, and about half of those are out of control. The chief of the Penticton Indian Band is calling for BC to cooperate to prevent more fires in the future. Chief Greg Gabriel says logging practices and addressing drought conditions are things that can be done. He also says the fires that forced homes from people in the Okanagan, including his members, are not natural occurrences. In Tumbler Ridge, court documents released about the mass shooting in February show police weren't actually sure how many shooters they were dealing with because of different names for the killer. The confusion was revealed in police documents used to get search warrants that were obtained as part of a court challenge issued by media. The documents are heavily redacted, but it does show RCMP only confirmed that Jesse Van Rootseller acted alone. When they reviewed the school surveillance footage, the shooter actually died of suicide afterwards. Other than the court document filed in March says the AI company OpenAI was not under investigation as police tried to get the company to hand over data about the shooter's ChatGPT accounts. That's your news to 747.
All right, we're going to talk air quality with an expert in just a few moments. But first, traffic and weather coming up next. Give us a text at 71010 if you see anything to pass on to other commuters.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Experience Victoria Fringe Fest, August 26th through September 6th. Feel the roar at Pacific FC. Get your tickets today at cplsoccer.com. West Shore Swap Shop and Market is at Rally at Royal Bay every Sunday. Support Goldstream Food Bank with a $2 admission or a food donation.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Well, for the ferries, that's where it's the story because we got a one sail wait, reservations fairly heavily across the day. An AC/DC concert in Vancouver with a lot of folks commuting over to the mainland today. The roads themselves look pretty typical for a Thursday. Nothing to see here. The weather, though, it's a little smoky. Got that smoke haze in the air. The air quality, in theory, is a low health risk right now, but we are noticing, even amongst our own crew here, that if you're susceptible to smoke, you might be noticing it a little bit. And we want to get into that right now. So I will tell you that it's going to be a high of 24 degrees, mainly sunny other than the smoke. That's today's forecast. But let's get into that smoke a little more with an expert.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
Yeah, what do we need to know about wildfire smoke and its health effects? Anna Marie Nicol is an associate professor of professional practice in the health sciences department at Simon Fraser University. She leads the Breathe project, which offers resources to the public on building a do-it-yourself air cleaner and that kind of stuff, which is really exciting. Great to get you here. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is top of mind right now because we're looking at the smoke haze. I've got my, co-host Lisa here with the smoke kind of hitting her pretty bad right now. So I guess maybe just right off the top, how are you doing in all of this, and what are your thoughts on the haze we're seeing right now?
Here in Vancouver, I'm calling in from Vancouver, and I can definitely see the haze as well. It's kind of an orangey glow to the sunrise, so that's when you can typically, you know that there's haze in the air, and that means that we're seeing fine smoke particles in the air.
Now, what are the effects of wildfire smoke exposure that we need to watch out for?
Sometimes it causes, most people, when people think about smoke, they think about kind of coughing and eyes watering and, difficulty breathing. And those things do happen even when there's more smoke, but often when there's fine particles, and these are the part of wildfire smoke that's actually ironically the most dangerous, are the tiny particles. And that's because they can get into your bloodstream. Those we often see thousands of miles away from the source of the fire. And those are the ones that really start to cause health effects for people, which is ironic. A lot of the emphasis is often put on the people who are really immediately affected, and of course, people evacuating and all sorts of things are very important. But even people far, far away from those fires can still be impacted by the smoke itself when they breathe it in.
How do you interpret the air quality readouts? Because we're having that today, where we're looking at for instance, the Environment Canada readouts are suggesting that the highest we're going to get as far as air quality risk today is a 3 on a scale where 1 is good and 10 is bad. We're at a 3, which they call low health risk. So that's the readout. Doesn't sound too alarming, but if you are sensitive to this, I mean, you're going to notice it. So how do you interpret these numbers?
Personally, I use both. I use resources called firesmoke.ca, and that's a project that models fire smoke. So it doesn't just tell you what might be happening right now, but also what could be happening in the next 24 hours. And then I travel with and have PM 2.5 monitors in my home. I even bring one along in my car when I go places so that I can get my own really granular readings of what the air quality is like where I actually am.
And what is explain those monitors and how you read those? Like, what are they detecting and what do they show you?
So PM 2.5 is really the most dangerous component in wildfire smoke. And it's one of the very fine particles. So the problem with them is that they can enter your bloodstream. So these monitors specifically look at those. It's a bit different than the AQHI or the air quality index. That measures a few other components, and those are the things that, they're yellow or red, and they say it's okay to be in certain places. But in my world, I'm really interested in PM 2.5 just because once that smoke is in my lungs, it can enter my bloodstream. And that's where we know it starts to have sort of more serious health impacts, things like heart disease, stroke, all sorts of impacts on other body systems. Because once it's in your blood, it can go everywhere in your body.
These are really serious things, and including some simple thing as brain fog and also the anxiety that comes with it, because it's something that your brain tells you to get away from, but it's kind of impossible to do so. Does it clear your system if you're away from it, or does it stay?
You can clear it from your system. It can take a while. One of the best things to do, though, is to try and reduce your exposure. And I can't tell you, lately, I've been seeing people going jogging, running by, when it's hazy outside, and I just want to run up to them and say, please don't. Please go to a community center or go do this exercise somewhere else, because it's really quite dangerous if you're exercising outside, you're breathing harder, and then you're pulling those fine particles even more directly into your lungs. So reducing your exposure at the source is really the best way to make sure that you're not loading your body up with these dangerous fine particles.
It sounds great, but you look at someone who's a construction worker on site, life happens when we make other plans. So what can they do if you're working outside or you're having to be outside? What can you do to protect yourself?
One of the best ways is to wear what we call a well-fitted N95 respirator, which is a fancy way of saying one of those sort of better-fitting masks. I think a lot of people rely on things like bandanas when they're outside, or even those sort of baggy medical masks that people wore during COVID. But those actually, ironically, don't filter out these very fine particles. You really need what's known as an N95 respirator, which it's still a mask. You just have to check when you're buying them that you're buying one with that certification. And Canadian companies make them. They are available. They're just often not what I see people wearing when they're working outside in construction sites. People just, tie a bandana around their face, and that might be good for bigger particles, but it's not going to stop those fine particles from getting into their lungs.
Well, the problem with N95 for the average person is it's a pretty intrusive mask. It's thick. And, it actually, for some people, they find it very claustrophobic. So it's a lesser of two evils, I suppose. What about children and someone who is expecting a child?
children breathe faster, and that just means that they're really drawing more air and then more fine particles into their lungs. So having kids stay inside, which isn't fun in the summertime, but staying inside or going to places like libraries and community centers, which are usually have well-conditioned air, which means it's cooler and cleaner. Those are really what we should be doing with kids when it's smoky or hazy outside, because that's really going to be the most protective for their little lungs.
What is your outlook for right now? I know you're in Vancouver and we're here in Victoria, so it might be a bit different, but is the current condition concerning to you with the smoke we're seeing, the haze we're seeing? Like how worried should people be about this level of smoke?
In part, it depends on who you are. So we know that fine particulate matter is really problematic for people with conditions like asthma or COPD, or if you have heart disease, or if you're at a greater risk of stroke. So people who are older, people who are children, and then people who are expecting, those are folks that really need to be paying attention at this point in time and taking steps to reduce their indoor exposures. So that's preventing smoke from coming in. And then once there's smoke inside from other sources too. So it might be a time where you want to, for example, not do a lot of frying on the stove or no candles. There are other steps you can take to reduce PM 2.5 indoors that are generated not just by fire smoke, but by other things that we do every day in our house.
And one last thing, I know you've, with Simon Fraser University, you've helped develop instructions for do-it-yourself air cleaners. How do those work? And I know we've only got like 30 seconds, so we can't get too far into it, but I guess this is a thing you can do yourself.
Yeah, and that really stemmed out of the realization that not everyone can afford a fancy air cleaner and the filters. So you can actually make your own. They are effective particularly for smaller rooms like bedrooms. So there's directions on the BC Lung website on how to make them. The good news about them is that the filter is easy to replace. So if you're gonna buy a commercial grade air cleaner, you want to make sure that you know how much those filters are. So the DIY ones you can make yourself, the filters you can always find in the hardware store. They're $24, $25 to replace them, because your air cleaner is only going to work as long as you keep replacing the filter. And the ones that you make yourself, the kind of bonus is that you can really see how much it builds up on the back of the filter because it's uncovered, and you can see what you're removing from your air just by looking at the back of the filter. So they're very easy to make. You just need some tape, a fan, and a furnace filter, and they do a remarkably good job, especially when it's really, the smoke starts to build up. And it's educational. You can see what it's taking out of the air inside your home.
That's cool. You mentioned there's a website with do-it-yourself instructions. Where can people find that?
Yeah, if you type in BC Lung Foundation or BC Lung and air cleaner, it will give you the instructions. We have little videos to show people how to do them. There's a shopping list. I see people now in hardware stores with lists like these where they just the kind of fan and filter, and that's actually been really well studied. It is the right fan and the right filter for the job. So and again, it might take 15 minutes to make. So if it suddenly starts to get smoky or you're feeling some of the symptoms and we run out of air cleaners, I often go to Home Depot or other places, Walmart, and there's just none left. You can't buy a Honeywell air cleaner at this point in time. So if you can't afford to buy a fancy one, or there are none to buy, these DIY are a good hack to help clean up your indoor airspace while it's hazy.
Got to leave it there, but things to think about as the smoke is here today in Victoria and beyond. Anne-Marie Nicol is a Simon Fraser University Associate Professor of things like, smoke and leads the university's Breathe Project. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you. Have a good day and stay safe.
All right, we got to take a break because that 8 o'clock news is coming up. We've got our Spam-A-Lot tickets to give away as well, so stay with us.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. Welcome to Thursday. It's 8 o'clock. Actually, it's 8:03 and time for the news. And here is Lisa Best.
Thank you and good morning. Uncertainty remains, unfortunately, the name of the game on trade. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc remains banging on doors in Washington, D.C. today, but so far, no new meetings with U.S. counterparts are on the schedule. CTV's Mike LeCouture is following the latest developments.
CTV News has learned that lead negotiator with the U.S., Janice Charette, warned her American counterpart that federal officials would not be able to control the public or premier's reactions if the U.S. moved forward with 50% tariffs. It wasn't described as an ultimatum, but sources say U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer understood the reality. Industry leaders remain cautiously optimistic.
I'm hopeful that we're going to get it done. The Americans are speaking in real terms. They know the consequence of their trade actions.
Premier David Eby meeting with volunteers, firefighters, evacuated residents who are living in Penticton for the moment, the people from Summerland who have had to move out due to the Bald Range wildfire, which continues to burn out of control. He says there's lessons to be learned from this wildfire. He believes after speaking with municipal leaders that we're just dealing with a new normal here in BC.
Anticipating an event that would require an evacuation alert and then an actual evacuation was not a luxury that they had. That this happened immediately and that the numbers of people who were moved out of the community were large and that resulted in an initial period of 24 to 48 hours of huge demand on services that were just not ready. And that there's an important set of lessons for us to take about how quickly this moved and that this may be our new normal for fire speed. And that a crucial piece of work that we have to do is an after-action review, which we will do, to determine how we can be as prepared as possible to ensure the supports are there.
The other new normal is the fire situation. The firesmoke.ca forecasts wildfire smoke infiltrating Greater Victoria today, which is what we're all seeing this morning across our skies. The beige skies will continue today into tomorrow, clearing slightly later tonight, but expected to be most heaviest around midday today and also midday tomorrow. A third batch of whales have left the shuttered Ontario theme park for aquariums south of the border. Marineland calls it a major milestone to move these captive whales to greener pastures. Retired pastures, that is. Retired Marineland employee Tom Western says he was at the park yesterday to say goodbye to some old friends.
They each have their own individual personalities, and you get to know them, they get to know you, and you watch them develop and grow through all the different steps.
11 whales remain at Marineland. Tom's worked there for 40 years. He says they deserve a better place to live. And that's your news to 8:06. CFAX for your forecast. I'll let Ryan handle that part. How confident are you in your news poll that you won't fall victim to a scam? 33% are saying very confident it won't happen. 51% say somewhat, 8% not at all, and 7% say they've already been scammed. I got to ask you, Ryan, where do you fall in that poll?
Well,
very confident. Somewhat.
So I'd like to say I'm confident, but then our company.
Yeah.
We're owned by by Bell. They frequently like to send these little emails that are tests, and if you click on the link, they say, "Oh, you've been caught. This was actually just an experiment to see if you'd click on something malicious, and you've now got to do a course."
Yeah, and then you're put in remedial class.
Yeah.
I've had it happen to me where I thought that looked legit.
I know. And so as much as I'd like to think I'm confident in my abilities, I have occasionally been caught by our company's
scam alert.
Whatever they're
Scam
called.
test.
Phishing tests.
Correct, yeah. Now, I put myself under somewhat because I just don't want to be overconfident about it because scammers are getting better. Anyway, you can vote at CFAX1070.com, Twitter X, and also the iHeartRadio app available too as well. I'd like to know what you think. That's your news to 8:09.
We are moments away from doing our Spam-A-Lot giveaway. Coming to the Royal Theatre the end of August for a whole weekend of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday shows.
Spam, spam, spam.
Nobody's done that one yet.
Well,
this could be the day.
Oh.
Who knows?
Hopefully.
Well, because we want to do is take a call at 250-386-1161 in just a couple of minutes. We're going to take a random caller. If you're the one, and if you perform a Monty Python sketch for us, any degree of it is fine, we will give you a pair of tickets to go see Spam-A-Lot. So that's coming up in just a moment. First, it's over to the sports. We got BC Lions on the radio tonight in CFL football. The Lions visit the Calgary Stampeders. BC is still in the West Division cellar with a record of 3-5. Head coach Buck Pierce says among the things he wants his team to work on is, improvement from offense, defense, special teams. Basically, if we could just do everything better.
Inconsistent throughout the first half of the season and haven't really played three-phase football yet. So those are the things we need to improve on. But, I think each phase has taken steps.
The Stampeders beat the Lions 41-22 in the last meeting these two teams had. That was back in Kelowna in June when that little soccer game was going on at BC Place and they had to move. Over to baseball, Toronto Blue Jays exploded for 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning and held on for a 6-4 victory over the visiting Boston Red Sox. Toronto has won 10 of its last 14 games, including 3 straight now in Boston, to make a push for the American League wildcard race. Manager John Schneider says there's a different vibe around the clubhouse ever since the trade deadline that saw a number of the veterans move out.
Some young guys, kind of bringing some energy, and there's some guys that have some things to prove, and that rubs off on everyone. So it's a good feeling right now.
Blue Jays and Red Sox wrap up their 4-game set this afternoon at the Rogers Center. And in tennis, it's going to be the day where we finish off the National Bank Open. There's the Toronto one, there's the Montreal one. On the women's side in Toronto, former world number 1 Iga Swiatek will take on Alina Rybakina in the final. In the American final, which shaped up to be an American final at the National Bank Open in Montreal, we got defending champ Ben Shelton and Brendan Nakashima going at it today. So at the end of today, we'll have 2 champions, and that's your CFAX Sports to 811. We'll take a call in just a moment for the Spam-A-Lot ticket. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. The time is 8:12, and the smoke haze is kind of one of the big stories. We do have mainly sunny skies somewhere up there, but you can't really see it through the smoke. We're getting a lot of texters talking about that. This texter at 71010 says, I could definitely see the smoke driving across the Johnson Street Bridge into town from Vic West this morning, and my poor dog felt it in his lungs as he started coughing shortly after we went outside. So people are kind of reporting that the smoke is affecting them today. Lisa, you've been feeling it a bit this morning.
Yes, you got to feel like that.
Yeah.
If you're feeling it, your animal's going to feel it too.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your warning. Smoke haze is here, and it's showing up for some people down low, even though the air quality readings are showing good. Just, I guess, use your judgment and your own experience as you get out there.
Go with what you're seeing and feeling, rather than what the website's telling you.
The other thing to mention in traffic and weather is the fact that we got a full sailing at 9. We've been seeing sailing waits all morning and heavy reservations ahead of us. We've got the AC/DC concert going on in Vancouver tonight. A lot of people are probably heading over for that. For any of the Summer of Rock winners who are going over because of the CFAX Summer of Rock, we'd love to hear from you after the show. Let us know how it went.
See your helijet ride went.
Yeah. On the markets, S&P TSX up 23 points this hour to 36,686. For the Dow, it is up 59 points to 53,829. The Canadian dollar at 71.7 cents U.S., down just a tick from yesterday's close.
Let's get started.
Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Would you like to see Spamalot, Broadway and Victoria, bringing this musical to the Royal Theatre? And I've got a caller now randomly selected to perform for us a Monty Python sketch if they want the tickets. Who's this on the line?
Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
Wonderful.
Did you prepare a Monty Python sketch for us?
I prepared, but I think you've been doing the contest this week. I hope I haven't picked the same one somebody else did.
Oh, well, they're your version of it.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's going to have their own take.
Of it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm just gonna read. I'm gonna read the script because I love it so much and didn't want to screw it up.
Oh, I'm excited now. Okay, this is dedication and reverence for the sketch. I love this.
Yes. Of course, Miss Praline says, "Now that's what I'd call," or Mr. Praline calls it, "That's what I'd call the dead parrot." No, it's stunned. Stunned? Yeah, you stunned him just as he was waking up. Norwegian blues stun easily, Major. Now look, mate. Well, he's just probably pining for the fjords. Pining for the fjords? What kind of talk is that? Look, why did he fall flat on his back the moment I got him home? The Norwegian blue prefers keeping on its back. Remarkable bird. Isn't it, Squire? Lovely plumage. It's not pining. He's passed on. This parrot is no more. He has ceased to be. He's expired and gone to meet its maker. He's a stiff, bereft of life. He rests in peace. If you hadn't nailed him to the perch, you'd be pushing up the daisies. Metabolic processes are now history. He's off the twig. He's kicked the bucket. He's shuffled off his mortal coil, run down the curtain, and joined the bleeding choir invisible. This is an parrot.
Oh, well
Michael,
done.
here you go.
Yay.
You know, beautiful plumage, the Norwegian blue.
You were really channeling Python there. Like, that was good.
Michael,
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Are you blushing?
And I'm happy to tell you, nobody did that one this week.
No, you're the
Oh,
first.
that's great. Some original material.
Do you feel relieved now that it's over?
Absolutely.
Well, Michael, hold on the line. Don't go anywhere. I got a pair of tickets to give you to go see Spamalot the musical. And you could be like Michael. If you call tomorrow, maybe you'll randomly get through and win our final pair of tickets because we've got one more of these to do tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to hearing the next performance. 8:16, let's get to the headlines. Here's Lisa.
Thank you. Police in New Westminster warning people about several cases of drivers finding fraudulent QR codes attached to local parking meters. Police say the victims would scan the codes labeled as scan to pay on the meters and be directed to a seemingly legitimate site to pay. Later, they noticed large amounts of cash withdrawn from their accounts. One victim reported a loss of $2,000. Police in New Westminster say they don't use QR codes to pay for parking or for pay parking, and investigators are now looking into the cases and have removed some stickers. But if you see something like this, contact police. And BC Premier David Eby admits the horrific wildfire that forced 20,000 people out of home last weekend in the South Okanagan moved at a dizzying pace And that fire may represent a new normal when it comes to how fast flames can spread. While visiting evacuees in Penticton yesterday, the Premier says he understands that people have losses. They're not aware of what's happening yet, and they have a lot of anxiety with dealing with the what if. He said the Bald Range fire outran the modeling for it. The chief of the Penticton Indian Band says the province must do more to help mitigate these disasters by addressing logging practices and drought conditions. Experts warn a new set of tariffs, U.S. tariffs, could drive a wedge between Canadian provinces. They believe that wedge would allow the U.S. to exploit regional grievances and force trade concessions. UBC political scientist Stuart Press says while there's an awareness that Canada could be a punching bag for the U.S., different parts of the country can be treated differently. University of Calgary economics professor Trevor Tombe reports the threatened tariffs would hit this province, BC, the hardest, while largely sparing the prairie provinces. That's your headline news to 8:18.
Lisa, we had a big reaction from listeners at 7:10 yesterday to our news poll question, where we were asking about that petition that's out about the ambassador, Pete Hoekstra, to the U.S., this petition that's wanting us to kick him out of the country, basically.
Right.
A lot of folks started texting in about this issue while we were asking it on the news poll. So we thought we would get a perspective on this from our retired diplomat friend, Jeremy Kinsman, who we talk to about these kind of things from time to time. What is his take on this issue and the sort of position of this particular ambassador who has clearly struck a chord with Canadians? We're going to get into that in just a few moments after traffic and weather. Stand by.
The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe.
Everyone wants to know about real estate. Is the market going up or down? Time to buy or sell? How can government programs and policies affect you? Hear from local experts on topics like appraisal, inspection, investment, and others on how to maximize your real estate sale.
Providing info on everything you needed to know about real estate. The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe. Saturdays at noon on CFAX 1070.
CFAX traffic and weather. By the way, the morning show brought to you by QP Vancouver Island, working to deliver the public services island communities rely on. QP, better services, better communities. The big thing today is the smoke haze. We got in the forecast mainly sunny skies, highs of 24, a little bit of humidity as well. But our listeners are letting us know that the smoke is noticeable at times and has really been affecting some folks who are sensitive to the smoke. So be aware of that today because the smoky skies are here. Clear skies tonight, other than the smoke, lows to 12. A mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, even a risk of a thunderstorm later in the afternoon. We will see a high of 23 tomorrow, except the humidity is still making it feel a bit warmer. And Saturday and Sunday look sunny with temperatures in the mid-20s.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Yeah, as we've been talking about in the news this week, tens of thousands of Canadians have signed a petition calling for U.S. President Donald Trump's representative in Ottawa to be kicked out of the country. Here to weigh in on this, a retired diplomat that we talk to from time to time. He's here in Victoria now, but he's been holding posts all around the world in his career, and we love his perspective on this. Jeremy Kinsman, back on the show. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Ryan. Nice day.
Always great to talk to you. We love getting your perspective on these things. And this one, seemed to strike a chord with our listeners. Pete Hoekstra, U.S. ambassador. A lot of Canadians seem to want to give him the boot. Or at least there's a petition which is gaining steam among Canadians calling for that very thing. What is your take on this? And how often do we see Canadians want to kick out an ambassador?
Oh, hardly ever. Well, we do kick them out once in a while if they're, an ambassador or a diplomat gets drunk and runs over a Canadian, then we kick them out. But generally, for just being obnoxious, very seldom. There has to be some kind of evidence of involvement in something basically illegal and inconsistent with the code of conduct that's enshrined in various covenants and international conventions about how diplomats, what their protections are and what their obligations are. Now he's not a loose cannon. He's tied very much to Trump. And what your, I think, very revealing survey is doing, it's showing how Canadians feel about how the United States under Trump is behaving toward our country. And this guy, who's sent to do a job by Trump, so I guess he figures, and of course he's picked for it, he's got an audience of one, right? It's not us. It's the guy back home. And the guy back home is an offensive person, hostile to Canada, no respect whatsoever for the facts of the matter is. He's aggressing our country, threatening our country. So how does he do the job? He kind of radiates this. And it's very unusual. It's not that diplomats have to, sugarcoat what a country is doing, but you don't deliberately offend the people of the country to which you're accredited. So it's odd, and your survey shows that Canadians don't like it. As to whether or not he'll be, we can tell the United States that their representative is stepping out of the bounds of conduct we expect. I don't think that's going to work because it's the kind of conduct, unfortunately, that their president does expect. So we'll have to endure it. I hope he's learning his lesson, though, because it's not helping the United States. It's deepening the divide. And, you look at all the surveys, David Coletto's surveys about public opinion, not just here, by the way, about the United States, in Europe. Twice as many people in countries traditionally allies of the United States actually consider the United States a bigger threat to them than China. Now, that's just an extraordinary thing. And this is a man-made situation, right? And the man is in the White House.
Jeremy, by and large, Canadians are a pretty forgiving bunch. But we have 100,000 plus signatures on this petition at this point. Was there a particular straw that broke Canadians' backs when it comes to this particular person?
I think our back is weighed down with straws, Ryan. You can't count them. I don't know if there's one more than another. I think, a lot of people are trying to turn off Trump because they just rather go for a hike, listen to some music, but rather than this guy every day. And so it's cumulative. It just builds up. But I think, Carney's been, to some extent, a godsend, whatever your politics are, because he stood up to him. I think what your survey shows, he better pay attention to the fact that Canadians expect him to continue to stand up to them. They're having meetings today in Washington, which may or may not be crucial. But, there's talk of, making some concessions now to get these tariffs, which are going to hurt small business if they come into effect. Next week or at the end of this week. We are at the end of the week, and so it's a tough time. But the cheering thing here, without being gung ho nationalistic about it, is how Canadians by and large have rallied. They've taken a look, including in Alberta. I think the person who created this petition to Parliament is sitting in Calgary, is that please just don't try and fiddle with our country. I mean, there are stunts. They're inviting that woman from the truckers shindig in Ottawa who's supposed to be under house arrest to his 4th of July party. That's just dumb, you know. So what can I say? Straws, straws, straws. Lots of straws. Right?
Lots of straws. We're talking to Jeremy Kinsman, retired diplomat here in Victoria. He's got a lot of experience with this stuff, and we love his perspective on these kind of, well, in this case, very applicable to you story. You know, here's a different diplomat, maybe not being so diplomatic in his role in Canada, and it's caused this petition to gain steam. Much appreciated, Jeremy. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Ryan. Good day. Bye.
And I love just, again, the text messages so on different sides of this. One texter here says, I signed the Hoekstra petition because he's divisive, combative, propagates the U.S. administration's misinformation, interferes with our national affairs. He's operating outside of his scope and needs to go. And then this texter at 71010 just simply is saying it's all Trump derangement syndrome. So two different sides coming in at 71010. We appreciate them all. And we'll take a break. We got the 8:30 news next.
Next time on the TED Radio Hour.
GLP-1s are best known as weight loss drugs, but Dr. Dhruv Kular says they may also help people cut back on alcohol, cigarettes, and opioids.
They seem to work for many types of addiction. Maybe these effects are much broader than we previously thought.
Ideas about the brain, addiction, and empathy. That's next time on the TED Radio Hour from NPR.
TED Radio Hour. Listen Sundays on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 8:30 on this Thursday, August the 13th. Smoke over the skies of Victoria. Listeners reporting that it's quite noticeable at places and at times, so be cautious of that. Otherwise, we're looking at a sunny day and temperatures up to about 24 degrees. Full forecast to come. But let's get to the news. Here's Lisa Best.
The dangers of e-transportation and children in the news this morning. New data highlights how dangerous e-scooters and e-bikes can be for kids in Canada. The Canadian Pediatric Surveillance Program says 10 children died from using these electronic devices last year alone, 6 of them in Ontario. 12 more patients admitted to intensive care units. 26 were treated at hospitals across Canada for more than 2 days. As a pediatric emergency physician at Toronto's hospital for 6 children, Dr. Daniel Rosenfeld says he rarely works a shift now without an e-scooter injury walking in the door.
They're inherently unstable. They go very quickly, and people have almost no protection in them or around them. So unfortunately, that number didn't surprise me. And, I suspect we missed a few cases as well.
Researchers surveyed 800 doctors in the field to gather information. The report is one of the first in Canada to show the national scale of severe injuries for young people. The province says it's already learning new lessons from the rapid spread of wildfires this season. Premier David Eby says there's a common theme when he met with local government leaders and wildfire officials as well as evacuees in Penticton from the Summerlin fire. The proximity of urban centres to trees may have unintended consequences.
The themes include things like, should we be having discussions about requirements for new builds in interface areas to make sure that they're more resilient to wildfire, sprinkler systems, exterior cladding, that kind of thing. And what would that look like from the provincial level? Conversations about, our historic practice of preserving the trees around local communities while logging operations are happening a little further away has had the unintended effect of creating a buildup of fuel around communities in the interface areas and having conversations about how we better manage those areas.
EB says there's been praise for the Fire Smart program and the difference it's made on the ground. Over in the village of Clinton, officials say more than $15,000 in fines have been leveled at people defying wildfire-related evacuation orders over the past few weeks. The Pear Lake wildfire forced residents to evacuate nearly 3 weeks ago on July 24th. Structures in that village were destroyed. Local officials say they sympathize with the stress and uncertainty of a long evacuation, but residents are urged to abide. Officials say there's been no reports of looting, so that's good news. The power has been restored to the village of 600. Means some people can actually view their properties through surveillance cameras, but a violation ticket for entering an area under evacuation order comes with a fine of over $1,100. And Iran and the U.S. are no closer to negotiating for a full opening of the Strait of Hormuz. ABC News contributor Mike Malloy says the U.S. has two options to return to the situation, what it was previously before the war started at the end of February.
One option, of course, would be for the U.S. military to force it open, but that would be a substantial escalation. I do believe the U.S. military could do it. It could cause a lot of casualties, and there might be no in-state planned. I mean, we might have to stay persistently in key terrain that would allow that to happen, and I don't think the American people would really want to see that to be the case. The other thing is to provide so much economic pressure against the regime that they come back to the table with something the United States could accept.
Iran's foreign ministry says the U.S. is miscalculating their strategy in the strait, but Iran is holding its strategy to patrol the area. U.S. blockades in place. Efforts have been made with Gulf nations to reopen the strait, but it hasn't happened yet. And Travis Kelce is not a blushing bride, but he's certainly a happy groom. He can't avoid talking about his Madison Square Garden wedding to Taylor Swift last month. It was the first question the Kansas City Chiefs tight end fielded during a press conference.
It was a fun off season, man. Wedding was the best night of my life, and I appreciate everybody who came out and celebrated and had fun with us.
Kelce says being at MSG was a childhood dream of his, and getting married there was a crazy one. That's your news, 8:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. We're asking, how confident are you that you won't fall victim to a scam? 51% say somewhat confident, 33% are very, but 8% not at all, and 7% said they've already been scammed. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 8:36.
Thank you, Lisa. Welcome to Thursday. It's a little smoky today.
Beige skies.
Yeah, it's noticeable, and some of our texters letting us know different experiences they're having. They can kind of see it. Some people feeling the effects of it. So, hey, be careful out there today. Noticing it a bit today. Otherwise, it's a sunny one with currently temperatures of 13 degrees. We're going to eventually hit 24. For the CFAX 1070 Sports, we got two teams in the CFL meeting tonight who are trying to improve their fortunes in the West Division. We got the BC Lions and the Calgary Stampeders. From Calgary, it's going to be right here on CFAX 1070. We got the kickoff at 6, but our pregame coverage will begin at 5. So keep it right here on CFAX for all your radio needs when it comes to the CFL. Calgary sits at 4-5. Of course, the BC Lions are at 3-5 and are coming off a win in Nathan Rourke's return from injury. Rourke needs 2 touchdown passes to become the second Canadian quarterback in league history to reach 100. Could it happen tonight? We're going to find out. We've got also baseball. One more game for the Toronto Blue Jays and the Red Sox in this 4-game set that they've been in the middle of. The Blue Jays winning again yesterday, 6-4. Toronto had a 5-run 8th inning, thanks in part to a Red Sox infielder dropping a pop-up fly in foul territory. Manager John Schneider spoke about the stroke of luck, the stroke of luck that was, and the luck that they've been experiencing in general in some recent games.
Maybe the baseball gods are changing their mind about us, after about 10 months. You never know, but you know what I mean? You got to take advantage of mistakes. So maybe, a month ago, a couple weeks ago, that ball would have been fair, would have been infield fly rule, but from me to the baseball gods, thanks. Keep it coming.
Jays have won 3 in a row and 10 of the last 14 games. And for the tennis, we're going to have a couple of champions at the end of the day. Ben Shelton is chasing a second straight National Bank Open title in Montreal. The defending champ facing fellow American Brandon Nakashima. Then we've got on the women's side, that's the one going on in Toronto. We got Iga Swiatek is trying to cap a deep run in Toronto with her first WTA Tour title in almost a year. The 6-time Grand Slam champion facing Alina Rybakina tonight in the National Bank Open final. The two have split their 12 previous meetings. That is your CFAX 1070 Sports. It's 8:39. It's 8:40 on a Thursday morning. The CFAX Morning Show is brought to you by Bluebird Cabs. If you need a cab, download the new Bluebird Cabs app at Bluebird Cabs Ltd. They're proudly local and Canadian-owned and run since 1946. On the roads, things are fairly clear. No crashes, accidents, or any problems like that. You can text me at 71010 if you do see something causing trouble. BC Ferry's very busy today. 9 o'clock sailing is full. We've seen sailing waits all morning. We do have some room left on the 10, but it's about 91% full of vehicle deck space right now. We are guessing that it's a lot of folks heading over to the mainland for the AC/DC concert, which will be happening tonight. In the weather, a little smoke haze in the air. Now, while the air quality index is still reading fairly good, about a 1, which is the best it can get, our textures are telling us a bit of a different story about feeling some of the smoke out there at times and at places. So just be cautious that seems to be a factor in the weather today. Otherwise, it's a high of 24, humidex of 28. Clear skies tonight, other than a bit of smoke. Lows down to 12. Mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, and a risk of a thunderstorm late in the afternoon. Highs of 23 tomorrow, but still a bit humid and maybe a bit hazy tomorrow still. Saturday and Sunday, looking sunny with temperatures in the mid-20s, although it could be windy on Saturday off the water, which could cool things down. On the markets, S&P TSX down 77 points to 36,584. So yeah, after some earlier gains of the day, things are starting to turn around, and the same story is playing out in New York, where the Dow Jones is down 56 to 53,713. The Canadian dollar at 71.7 cents US, just down a fraction of a cent from yesterday's close.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Interpreting the forecast when it comes to the smoke. We had a fascinating conversation about not quite an hour ago with somebody from Simon Fraser University who studies things like air quality. And she was talking about how you can get the air quality air readings, which are one thing, But then there's other particles that might not be captured in that. So it could be that you experience something a little different than what the air quality reading is saying. It was interesting to hear her talk about that.
Yeah, and you got to go with what's happening outside. Just stick your head out the door. Go with that over what our website's going to tell you, because it can change, not just hour by hour, but within 5 minutes, depending on prevailing winds, it can change again. So we have beige skies over Greater Victoria today.
Yeah. And she was also talking about how she's got some instructions up online.
That's cool.
To build your own air filters, because you can buy all the stuff from a hardware store. You can get a HEPA filter. You can get a replacement furnace filter. You can get all these things. You can basically strap them all to a fan.
Duct tape.
I'm sure it's a bit more complicated than that, which is why they got the DIY instructions up on our website. If you want to find out more, listen to Ryan and Lisa, the podcast, because we'll have that interview up later today. You can listen to all of the highlights from the show on the iHeartRadio app. Maybe you could go to any. You use Spotify, you use the Apple Podcast service, all of these things.
Google away, you'll find us.
And you can also follow us on YouTube and watch the whole podcast version of the morning show right there on YouTube. So many ways to catch up on the show. Have you been catching up with the Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50 jackpot, which this morning got up and over $19,000, and now it's at $19,270, which means that we're almost at 10 grand as the takeaway for the winner, and almost 10 grand going to CFAX Santa's Anonymous and the Kids Count program, helping kids beyond Christmas. We're almost at a 10 grand split, because we're going to probably hit 20 grand pretty soon. I think that's remarkable.
When we get to these milestones, we get excited because what are we, $700 off from hitting $20,000, and it's the first time we've done this.
Yeah.
So
we had no idea how to go.
Right. It's found cash. It's like, okay, let's try it and cross fingers and hope everybody gets on board. 50-50s are a huge thing, and the difference of this one is it goes till almost the end of August.
Yeah, let's tell you about the logistics here, because we're going to do the draw Friday, August 28th at 7 a.m., not just on CFAX, but we've got our radio partner in 107.3 Virgin Radio also selling the tickets. We got CTV Vancouver Island involved in this as well. And so all three of us, we're going to do the draw together at 7 in the morning, Friday, August 28th. The deadline for ticket sales is the day before that, Thursday, August 27th at 5 p.m. I'm mentioning that because I don't want you to miss out. Don't wait until the morning of, because the tickets will get cut off at Thursday, August 27th at 5 p.m. So you can go to CFAX1070.com, click on the big Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50 button, a single ticket for 10, 5 for 25, 20 for 50.
I like it.
The time is 8:45, and time for the headlines with Lisa.
Thanks. Members of Canada's Cultural Centre have sent a letter to the Prime Minister urging him to leave rules in place regarding Canadian content financial contributions from foreign streaming companies. The letter says a 15% contribution requirement is an appropriate benchmark for the resulting regulatory framework. It says Ottawa's $600 million per year pledge in lieu of the financial contributions is appreciated, but it's not a substitute for durable, legally enforceable contribution obligations. While Ottawa changed course on the streaming rules after the U.S. identified the enabling legislation as a trade irritant, and the U.S. Trade Representative for Canada says the country wouldn't really get credit for doing so. As Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc remains in Washington, banging on doors ahead of a looming deadline for new U.S. tariffs next week. Experts are warning Washington could reward provinces that comply with its demands while punishing others that don't. Unlike most of the U.S. president's other tariffs, these new ones would have no exemptions for goods that comply with the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Agreement on Trade. UBC political scientist Stuart Press says different parts of the country could be treated differently as a result, noting Canadians really have to be aware of the fact that this lends itself to a divide-and-conquer strategy, and BC could come out with the short end of that stick. A health expert is offering advice on how to better manage stress. Sandra Darling is a preventative medicine doctor at Cleveland Clinic. She says the chronic stress we struggle with can impact your memory, make it hard to concentrate, contribute to brain fog, and actually age your brain. In order to manage it better, she says a regular exercise can help, a healthy diet and consistent sleep schedule. She also says you got to make time for activities you enjoy, and also practicing meditation could make a dent on that too. That's your news at 8:46.
Well, one of the things coming up this weekend is, of course, the Victoria Shamrocks set to take on the WLA Championship Series. Saturday is the first game. It's going to be at the Q Center. And General Manager of the Shamrocks, Chris Welsh, is joining us to talk about what we can expect next.
CFAX, Santa's Anonymous.
Hey, grown-ups, you know, the ones still kids at heart.
Through the Kids Count Children's Grant Program powered by CFAX Santa's Anonymous, local kids are getting help with summer camp fees, food security, and mental wellness support.
Where do you see kids needing the most support?
Access to healthy, fresh food through the summer.
Visit CFAXSantas.com right now and give directly to the cause that matters most to you.
Kids Count.
Powered by CFAX Santa's Anonymous.
To find out how you can help, visit CFAXSantas.com.
Well, CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. If you're heading out on a summer road trip, shop at Thrifty Foods. Swipe your Scene Plus card to save up to 15 cents per liter at Shell. See in store for details. Let's take a look at what's going on the roads. Well, not much. All the roads are fairly clear. No crashes. Usual volume delays out of the West Shore into Victoria. Mostly just seeing the slowdown on the Trans-Canada Highway where people are getting through the construction zone. Everything else is looking good. Just kind of fun to note that they've officially declared the Keating flyover construction project over. All the construction zones are gone. Things are officially done. After all those years. For BC Ferries, busy day. We've got the 9 o'clock sailing full and heavy reservations through the day. Might have something to do with a little AC/DC concert happening in Vancouver tonight at the stadium. For the weather forecast, we've got mainly sunny skies, but that smoke haze is with us. Listeners letting us know that they are feeling it in some places and at some times. So just be cautious. Some smoke in the air. Highs of 24, humidex of 28, clear skies tonight, lows to 12, and then tomorrow it's a mix of sun and clouds. Still a little hazy with that smoke still here. And a risk of a thunderstorm. Just a chance of it, but it's a possibility in the forecast for tomorrow in the afternoon hours. And then for Saturday and Sunday, looking sunny, maybe a bit breezy, and temperatures into the mid-20s. Right now, for the official temperature in Victoria, it is 16 degrees. At the airport, in downtown Victoria, it is 15.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Big sports weekend. We got the Victoria Shamrocks getting ready for the WLA Championship Series, which is going to kick off Saturday at the Q Center. General Manager Chris Welsh joining us to talk about what we can expect. How you doing today, sir?
Doing well, thank you, Ryan.
Now, you and I spoke about this a little while ago, and that was when you first kind of booked your ticket to this. But let's talk about how it's feeling a couple of days out. How are you? How's the team feeling?
Pretty good, I think, overall. You know, we've had a week off. Our last game was last Friday night at the Q Center, and, you know, the next one coming up is Saturday night at 6:30, and we don't know yet who we're playing, so we're all watching with interest tonight as Maple Ridge, Burrards, and Coquitlam Adanacs face off in Game 5, the deciding game of that series tonight at the Cam Neely and over in Maple Ridge. And whoever wins that's going to have a quick turnaround. We've benefited from a week off and had a good practice last night. I think the guys are chomping at the bit to get back into, the swing of competition. Nothing like playing games, especially at this time of year. So we're excited. Couldn't be more ready, and we'll see who we're facing later on tonight.
Are there any preferences? Are any of those teams looking better to face, or I guess worse to face?
Two really evenly matched teams in Coquitlam and Maple Ridge. Not much to separate them during the regular season and during this playoff series. It's going to go down to the wire. I suppose a slight edge to Maple Ridge having the home floor. And they may be a little bit healthier from the outside looking in. It looks like Coquitlam might be a bit banged up, but it's no preference for us. We just want to go out and, play our game and do our thing and let the results speak for themselves as we've done all year.
But Saturday at the Q Center, how important is it to come out and see the Shamrocks play in this thing as we get into this series?
Well, we always benefit from our home fans. They're tremendous in the way that they create an atmosphere in the building with their, enthusiasm and their great support. And it really makes a difference to the guys on the floor. Even the opposing teams just love playing in Victoria because of the environment in the Q Center during games. But, for the fans, the Mann Cup is in the East this year, so what this means is we may be down to only 2 opportunities left to see the Shamrocks play live this year in Victoria. So hopefully people will come out and give us the support we need and take the chance to catch some exciting WLA lacrosse. It doesn't get any better. This time of year is full of exciting lacrosse. The MSL finals back in Ontario are getting underway shortly, and the Minto Cup in Calgary is about to start with our junior counterparts traveling tomorrow morning to hopefully bring home some silverware from Calgary, and we're going to be cheering them on. But, we've got best of 7 about to start, and we count on our fan support each and every game, and hopefully it'll be no different this time. So tickets are available online. Get them while they're there. We're expecting a good crowd. We'll just hope for the best. And like I said, we'll find out tonight who the opponent is. This is a little bit of an odd feeling, but it is what it is, and we're excited.
Yeah, it's funny to be a couple of days away from the game, and you still don't know who you're playing as that championship series still keeps going. And interesting what you said about, even if you guys do really well and keep going, there are still only 2 more chances, potentially, to see the Shamrocks play this season. So if you hadn't quite realized that, don't sit on this. There's only this game and the next one. And then, like you said, if you do get to the Mann Cup, it's going to be elsewhere. And you also mentioned the Junior A Shamrocks doing really well as well, going on to the Minto Cup, which is also going to be away. How important is that connection? Maybe talk a bit more about the relationship between the Junior A Shamrocks and the senior team that you manage. What is the link there?
Well, we share a name, but we're technically 2 different organizations. We're operated by 2 different operating groups, and we work very closely with them. Obviously, they're kind of our feeder in the draft, and players coming up. It's a natural feeding system, but there's a lot of crossover between the 2 teams. Our assistant GM, who just does a fantastic job for us in so many ways, Rod Wade, is also the general manager of the Junior A's as well as the Junior B's, and he has a full-time job and a family, and I don't know how he does it. He's by far the hardest working man in lacrosse, I think. And so, there's a lot of connections back and forth, and really good relations. They were out last night, meeting in our office, their group, getting final preparations made for their trip. And so it's a really good relationship, and we wish them all the best, and we know they're cheering us on too, and both will be keeping an eye on each other's progress as the week unfolds ahead of us.
Yeah, I guess it's just got to be great having both those teams do so well. It's got to feed into each other.
Yeah, it's a really nice relationship, and it's very helpful both ways, and it makes for at the very top level a strong lacrosse community here in Victoria, and that's part of what we work really hard to try and keep going is those good relations and good experiences to make lacrosse an attractive place to play and participate, and for everybody, not just the players on the floor but everyone involved. We want it to be a good experience, so good relations go a long way in that regard.
We're talking to the general manager of the Victoria Shamrocks, Chris Welsh. This Saturday, they're going to kick off the WLA Championship Series. The winner of that one goes on to the Mann Cup. We don't know who they're playing yet because that other semifinal is still happening, but we'll either way have only a couple more chances in Victoria to see the Shamrocks play, so don't miss out. Saturday, Q Center against somebody. We'll see what happens. It's great to talk to you. Best of luck, and hopefully we get a few more chances to speak as maybe this season just keeps on rolling. In the meantime, have a wonderful Saturday.
Thank you very much.
That's it for the show today. Thanks so much for listening. We'll join you again tomorrow with another set of Spam-A-Lot tickets to give away. Join us then.